established an aerial tour of Accra to inspect the flooded areas. Unfortunately, the flooding has been very extensive today for several reasons. One, the recorded rainfall today is one of the highest in several years. The Meteo are looking at approximately 140 millimeters that was dumped on Accra. Last year, the maximum rainfall was 56 on a single day. And so the volumes are much higher. And so there are many issues to the flooding in Accra. There's climate. If you look at the rainfall pattern from 2024, 2025, 2026, you see that increasingly every year we're getting more rain in Accra than we used to get. GMET say that in 2024, for a period of 30 days in June, we had 85 millimeters of rain. And then in 2025, it increased to 172. And then in 2026, for the same 30-day period in June, it increased to 333. And so the waterways are not getting chance to recover before more rain is.
So the president is right to say that waterways have a short period or are unable to recover before another rain pours in. And that's why, as he says, that the Ghana Meteorological Agency was right. They warned us way ahead of time. And the president acknowledges that there was going to be a lot of rain in the month of June and July this year. And it is happening. And we've seen it. This floods on Sunday night into the early hours of Monday has so far claimed, the last count, 34 lives across the country. 34 is the total of people that we have lost as a result of the floods. 12 in the Greater Accra region, 18 in the Central region, and 4 in the Volta region. That is how troubling this situation is, and the aftermath of these floods. 34 lives lost to a perennial problem, a sin that we commit to contribute to what we are seeing now. Things that should have been done, which have not been done, and also some decisions that persons that we pay with the taxpayers' money should have taken, which have not been taken. The building in waterways, and then also the obstruction of the flow of water, has been pointed out as one of many reasons why we experience flooding in this country. We'll go through the reasons as we know it already, because this is not new. And there are many who contend that finding the solution to this flooding is not rocket science. There's documented solution. So exactly what is the problem? What are we not doing? Which is leading to the loss of lives. So that's a conversation we'll have this morning here on The Key Point. We have the right people who will speak to the issues so as to find out what has to be done going forward. The focus is on the solution, and then also asking questions of accountability. But as we have this conversation this morning, we have it very clear at the back of our minds that 34 lives have been lost, and their death must count when it comes to this matter of finding solution to the floods. We have the major key stakeholders to speak to this particular issue here on The Key Point. The National Disaster Management Organization will be joining us. The Ghana Meteorological Agency will be joining us. The National Coordinator of GARID very important and critical component to this. They'll be joining us. We have a structural engineer as well. Will be joining us, the Ghana Institution of Engineering will be joining us. We will have a conversation on this matter here on The Key Point. Also, this week, the Supreme Court ruled on this combined or consolidated case, or the cases bordering on the removal of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Essa Batokono, some 4 cases that were consolidated into 2. The outcome, many people who were watching and were not too surprised about it. Many people expected that the Supreme Court would go in a particular path. But if you look at the full ruling, there's some recommendations that have been made regarding Article 146 and the process for the removal of the Chief Justice if it so happens. So we'll have a conversation on that, juxtaposed with the proposals by the Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh-led Constitutional Review Committee's proposal as to some amendments that have to be made to Article 146 concerning the removal of a Chief Justice. We'll have a conversation this morning. This week, just about some 48 hours ago, we got the unfortunate news of the killing of a Ghanaian in South Africa. The Foreign Affairs Ministry's account of what happened is that this death or the killing is directly linked to the xenophobic attacks or the campaign that is going on in that country. The June 30 deadline saw thousands, if not millions, of South Africans hitting the streets, demanding that undocumented African nationals leave the country because they're taking their jobs. They should go back to their country. That, unfortunately, according to the account of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, accounted for the killing of our brother, a father, a relative. Was the South African government, as a Cape Town, as police, and then also the minister, have all spoken challenging the account of the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Ghana that what happened, yes, a Ghanaian has been killed, but it has no direct link to whatever they are doing in that country. So we'll be finding out some detail. So far, what has the High Commissioner, the Ghana High Commissioner to South Africa, what has he found as against what the South African authorities are telling us? In fact, they've given us different names. The Foreign Affairs Ministry has also given a different name of the deceased. So what's going on? We'll have a conversation this morning. And I know that a number of us have woken up with a heartbreak. Those who were able to sleep, that is it, after watching the Black Stars March. There are many of you who couldn't sleep and have had to just keep awake to join us this morning. You're not alone. There are others as well who did not even want to risk it at all. You slept just to wake up to see what would happen. Well, we lost. We've crashed out of the World Cup. I'm saying it's a disappointing performance. We'll have a bite on what happened. But thank you so much for joining us here on The Key Point. The key issues that are of concern to you, the Ghanaian people. And we go straight to the point with the people who will be joining me in the studio this morning. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. Also on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the city of London, and Voice of London television as well. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. My guests will join me. We're going to travel straight to South Africa. The High Commissioner of Ghana to South Africa. His Excellency Benjamin Kwashi is joining us to give us an update on what I just spoke to you about regarding this Ghanaian who has been killed and matters arising. Stay with us. I am Alfred Okansi. Welcome to The Key Point. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. As always, The Key Point is brought to you by GASEM, the nation builder, and Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. We'll be back shortly. Well, welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com, also on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the city of London, and Voice of London television, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and a number of radio stations across the country. As always, Key Point is brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and also GASM, the nation builder. This morning, just as you just saw there, South Africans, thousands of them, not millions, hit the streets asking that undocumented migrants go back to their country. Well, they've been at this for well over almost 4 months now. And Ghanaians have been evacuated from that country. Unfortunately, after that June 30 deadline they gave, that led to this number of persons hitting the streets. The aftermath of it, this protest, is the news of the death or the killing of a Ghanaian by South Africans, whether it is what the police is saying or what the Foreign Affairs Ministry is saying. What has not been denied by both statements issued is that a Ghanaian has been killed. That is a fact. But this is what the Foreign Affairs Ministry said in the statement that they issued regarding the killing of this Ghanaian, our brother, a father. Understand, he has children. We will establish the number of children he has and what is happening to the family right now. But there's a very troubling development which the government of Ghana has taken quite seriously with this statement and many other things ongoing as we speak. This was a statement that was put out by the Foreign Affairs Ministry, receiving with profound shock and sadness reports of the fatal shooting of a Ghanaian national. And take note of the name, Bashiru Isaac. Bashiru Isaac, 40 years of age. And take note of the location as well, where this gentleman was killed, this Ghanaian was killed. Khayelitsha in Cape Town, South Africa, on Monday, June 30, during an anti-immigrant demonstration linked to xenophobic attacks. That's the account of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. This killing happened as a result of anti-immigrant demonstrations ongoing. Xenophobic attacks. They give a name, Bashiru Isaac, and they give the location where this incident happened. That's Khayelitsha, Cape Town. And I wanted you to, I'm pinpointing this specific parts of the information or this statement so you take note, because the South African police is also giving us something different. The government of Ghana condemns in the strongest terms this senseless act of violence and the rising tide of xenophobia targeting African nationals, including Ghanaians in South Africa. The taking of any life is unacceptable, and those responsible must be brought to justice without delay. The full complement of that statement you would find on 3news.com. But I want you to take note of this particular part of the statement. This one. The name of the individual, the deceased Ghanaian, Bashiru Isaac, where this happened, as well as the date of this particular incident and the reason given by the Foreign Affairs Ministry. With that established, I'm going to show you what the South African police, who, after learning of this statement by the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Ghana, also issued a statement. This is what the South African police also put out after this statement from the Foreign Affairs Ministry. And I want you to follow me closely on this particular issue. And this is it. This is what the South African police put out. The South African Police Service, SAPS, in the Western Cape confirms the murder. So in both cases, the murder has been confirmed, undisputed. The murder of a Ghanaian national in Nyanga. They say this happened in Nyanga on Monday. So, take note. They say this happened on Monday, the 29th of June, in Nyanga. The Foreign Affairs Ministry says this happened on the 30th of June, in Khayelitsha, Cape Town. They say that this happened in Nyanga. That is what they are talking about. That's according to the South Africa police. Now, the other thing that they established, which is contrary, or what they put out, which is contrary to what our Foreign Affairs Ministry put out, is the name of the deceased and the age of the deceased as well. So there are a number of things. Official crime scene reports indicate that the deceased male, identified later as 35-year-old Kwabena Boageng. So the Foreign Affairs Ministry statement said this is a 40-year-old. The South Africa police said this is a 35-year-old. They established, yes, indeed, that he was shot at this location, Nyanga Terminus, in front of NTG Hair Salon and shoe repairs at approximately 3:45 on Monday, in circumstances that point to extortion-related crime perpetrated by yet-to-be-arrested gunmen. So they said this has nothing to do with xenophobic attacks. It's an extortion-related crime perpetrated by yet-to-be-arrested gunmen. That's the account of what happened. So we will get into this matter. In fact, when this issue first came up, quite a number of people who have been incensed about it, and rightly so, the entire nation is incensed about it. As we go on in the conversation and the other matters we're going to talk about, rolls out, my guests will be joining me, Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. We'll also have the Garrett National Coordinator, who's also going to give us a full account of what's happening in terms of the interventions with the flood matter when we get there. Also, the NADMO, the Ghana Meteorological Agency, also the Ghana Institution of Engineering. We'll have a structural engineer as well join us in the studio. So stay with us. This is a journey that has just started. But let's go straight to South Africa. His Excellency Benjamin Kwashi is Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, is joining us on Zoom from the Office of the High Commission. This is in Pretoria. Good morning.
Good morning, Alfred. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Martin Pebble is private legal practitioner. He's in the studio with us. Counsel, good morning to you.
Morning, Mr. Okansi. Morning. It's good to be here. Before His Excellency continue, you know the rituals. Today, the rituals are replaced once again by the alarm I'm experiencing, the shock. Remember last week I mentioned that 3% of the District Assembly Common Fund is paid to the MPs privately. 3% of the amount is paid to the MPs privately into their private accounts. And the Auditor General has no visibility on how that money is used. They say it's for monitoring and evaluation. The Auditor General is not able to audit the private accounts of MPs. So it's a big constitutional crisis. It's a big bloat on Parliament. Right. That 3% of the District Assembly Common Fund is paid into MPs' private accounts. Is it any wonder that they will tell you that, oh, our salary is just so much and then our expenses are big? You see, part of the secret funding. So as for this matter, we would have to get to the bottom of it. 3% of the District Assembly Common Fund paid into MPs' private accounts. They say monitor and evaluation. Look, one, in the District Assemblies, there are people in charge of monitoring and evaluation. Two, you go to the regional level, the same. You come to the Ministry of Local Government, the same. So how many monitoring and evaluation? Or is it like the World Cup we attended, is it 2040? You hear Justice Senyo Jamefe asking the people, you appear for the first match, then you are paid. Second match, you are paid. So we keep appearing, sir, and getting paid. Please, listen, let's get to the bottom of it so that we can, as a nation see. Then number two, Abu Trika and Daniel Yusuf. Abu Trika and Daniel Yusuf. Ghanaians, are we going to sit for this government to take them to the US, extradite them? We should get involved. They are not bringing Oforiata. They are not bringing Oforiata. So these guys are our bargaining chip.
Lawyer Matipebo, thank you very much. And you are the only one dressed in Ghana colors because you've not lost hope.
Yes.
Well, there are many people who have been heartbroken. But
heartbroken. You're a fair weather friend. You should still come out in the colors.
Kofi Beto.
Fair weather friend. Last week you were in the JC. But you have to physically demonstrate it on the face of it. Prima facie.
Yes.
Is it prima facie?
Good morning,
Mr. Beto, good morning.
Everybody. Good morning,
everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I beg, me my 30 seconds.
Quickly.
31 years ago, a certain woman decided that she would marry me.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Hey. Wow, congrats.
Today is my wife's birthday, so happy birthday. And this
wonderful.
She's taking care of me for 30 years.
30 years.
30 years,
Well
30
done.
years. And I owe a lot to her. In fact, if you see me in court with her struggling over everything, I say it today, she should win.
That's all.
So happy birthday to Auntie Cecilia. You are amazing. And
wonderful.
God bless you. And see, please, this thing that he's talking about, it has gone to the courts. That matter, somebody has sued in court that paying 30% of the District Assembly Common
3%.
3% is unlawful. If it didn't go to court at all, the law on District Assembly Common Fund is clear. It is not supposed to go anywhere. They created that thing we are calling, other kinds of
monitoring and evaluation.
It is immoral.
Yeah.
It is unlawful. Even if the court says so, this is bad
no
law.
way. We will not allow.
It should stop. Oh, you can't say you're not allowed.
Oh,
in the Constitutional Republic,
it's
the
because
judges say
Ghanaians don't understand. If Ghanaians understood, by now this country would be up in arms.
And as for Black Stars, see.
No, we'll deal with that.
Disappointment is related to expectation. So we are fine.
Disappointment is related to expectation. So it appears that that we've developed some tough skin for this, but there are many people who have. So we'll spend just some time later on the show to deal with this Black Stars heartbreak and disappointment. But just 23 minutes to the top of the hour, as we're just talking about what has happened in South Africa, the killing of this Ghanaian, unfortunate development there. And the ambassador, the High Commissioner to South Africa is joining us on Zoom. Before we get into this particular issue, the killing of this Ghanaian, Excellency, quick one. What's the situation now as we speak? After June 30th, you still have the protest happening and Ghanaians still living in fear?
Thank you very much. As we speak, there's another demonstration that is currently ongoing in Pretoria, the capital. People have still not been able to open their shops or their businesses, not only as many other African countries have kept their citizens from opening their shops and businesses. And we're told by the demonstrators that they're going to do this every Thursday. And we were surprised that today, from nowhere, we were just notified that they were going to demonstrate again in a part of Pretoria, that is right around its central business district.
Can I dash quickly?
I see. Okay. So there are protests happening, and what about the police? What are they saying about this expression of fear, and then also that constant, let's say, the agitation that, in fact, people have had to deal with over the past few days after the June 30 date, the deadline that was given?
I think on June 30th, because all of us decided to hold the government of South Africa accountable, there was a deployment of a very large force of police and other security services. But obviously, now that that major demonstration on June 30th has passed, we don't see the presence of police like they were deployed on that day, which is concerning because once the police withdraw and allow the demonstrators to go ahead and do their protests, it always ends up not in a very good fashion. And so we believe that we would still call on the South African government to ensure that the police are deployed to protect life and property of everyone that finds him or herself in the shores of South Africa.
Well, hearing the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, speak to international media, he says, well, he didn't find anything wrong with what happened. It's just the people expressing their rights. But he didn't speak about the looting and the beating and the killing that happened on that day. How did that get to you?
Well, President Ramaphosa, over the years and over the months, especially in the lead up to these demonstrations, have indicated that the laws of South Africa frowns upon such demonstrations. In fact, he has indicated on countless occasions that it is not the responsibility of any single individual to just take the laws into their own hands, stop individuals on the road, ask them for their documentations. But unfortunately, right after the president speaks, these demonstrators also come up and say that, no, this is what they intend doing and they'll continue doing it. So against the president's instructions, you see them still going on the street, still chasing people from their homes, still asking people for documents, and they claiming to verify it. Verifications that honestly we believe that they have no knowledge about. So it's one thing what the president says, and it's one thing what the demonstrators and the whole country looks on when these people are committing such acts.
Now, let's go into this rather unfortunate incident, this development of the killing of this Ghanaian. There are two different accounts given by the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and I would presume that obviously you're the one who gave them that correspondence. And then the South Africa Police Service, that's SAPS, they're giving the name of this Ghanaian who was murdered as Kwabena Boaging. That's number one. Two, they say he's 35 years old. Three, they say this incident happened on Monday, June 29. And four, that it has nothing to do with xenophobic attacks. It's an extortion-related crime. So those are the five issues I highlight. And in fact, the sixth one is the location where this happened. They say it happened at Nyanga. Right? And I'm taking out these sticky points and putting alongside what you gave to the Foreign Affairs Ministry, that this happened at Khayelitsha, Cape Town. That's number one. You give the name of the deceased as Bashiru Ishak. They say is Kwabena Boaging. Whose report should we believe? What's going on?
Thank you very much. Alfred, when you look at the reports from the police,
I can hear you.
Okay, very well. Alfred, when you look at the report from the police, there's a case number that the police gave, CAS 65906-2026. And the nature of the case is murder. And then they give the name of the deceased as Mr. Kwabena Boahen, 35 years old. That's not true. The name of the deceased, as you've mentioned, is Bashiru Isaka. When the police issued the statement, the High Commission was compelled because we were not there. The murder happened in a town within Kailicha in the Cape Town metropolitan area. So the Nyanga that they are speaking about, it is within the Kailicha precinct. So it's the same thing between Kailicha or Nyanga. It's the same environs that the incident happened at. But when we spoke to them, they gave us a name of Kwabena Boahen, and we realized that it was not the case. Based on the information we had, we knew that the name was Bashiru Isaac. We had a contention with them forth and back, and they said we should do a positive identification of our late comrade. After we did that, they now confirmed to us that indeed they got the name wrong and that the name should be Bashiru Isaac. Mind you, in the case number that they gave us and in the case file, what we read still, they've not even corrected the name to the name that we have given them, that this is the right name of the deceased. We're hoping that in the days to come, they will be able to do that. Secondly, when the murder happened, because the High Commission is in Pretoria, we had to quickly send through officers to be able to glean and tell us what exactly was the situation. If you know Cape Town very well, it's an area that every Ghanaian that stays there, they are always reserved because murders and a lot of bad things happen to them in Cape Town. So we found it very difficult even locating Ghanaians within that precinct to be able to give us any information. So we decided to rather go to the police because the Ghanaians that we expected to give us the information were telling us categorically clear that they are even scared to come up with the information that we are seeking to get from them. Fortunately, the gentleman, the deceased, was working with one Zimbabwean. The two of them were in the shop when the incidents happened. We told that that gentleman we are looking for currently to become a state witness in the whole case. He has also absconded. He's not made himself available. We've tried reaching him, and he's told us that if he comes to testify, he knows that his life will be in danger. But the lawyers from the High Commission are working hard with the courts in South Africa so that he can be put under witness protection for him to be able to collaborate the story of what happened on that very day. So, Alfred, yes, it's true that the name, they got it wrong. The venue, what we gave and what they are giving is the same place to talk about. Now, on the day that the incidents happened, when we got information about the incidents, based on the police correspondent that we have, that is what gave us the date that we transmitted to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now, they came back to us in a very nice way and said, no, based on the forensics that we did, the murder didn't occur on 30th. It did occur on the 29th. So we say, give us a copy of the autopsy report. Give us a copy of the case file that you have so that we can also be able to collaborate the date that is 29th as against the 30th that we had the information and which we were told by those we sent to the area to go verify what actually happened. As I speak now, they've not given us any of those. They've indicated to us that they will be sending it directly to our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which for us is strange because we are here. We demand a copy of the autopsy report because remember, when these incidents happened, they never conducted any autopsy until the Minister of Foreign Affairs specifically asked us that we should go there and insist on an autopsy being performed. After they got the name to be a Muslim name, they used that to say, oh, we think Muslims do not do autopsy. And we said, hold on, let's confirm from our main ministry in Accra. And the Honorable Minister said, no, let's have a special call with the family of the late in Ghana and ask them if per their Muslim tradition, they would allow us to do the autopsy. They gave us the green light. We've done the autopsy. And as we speak, they've not given us copies of the autopsy. So the contention of the day is still there, but we want to put on record that the crime as we speak has been committed. The gentleman was murdered in cold blood, and from witness accounts that we have had, including the Zimbabwean who was in the shop, indicates that it was not only a case of extortion, it was a case of both people coming into the shop and telling them that do not work in this country. You are foreigners. Leave the country as we have been asked to leave the country. And they then went ahead, 9 of them, 9 young men entering into the shop. In case of extortion, we are told that they come 1 or 2 or 3 of them. But this one, 9 of them into the shop. If it is not about this justice for everybody coming up and saying that foreigners should leave the country, we don't believe that this is going to happen. So the police cannot run away from that fact. Until we get the autopsy report that we are demanding from, we still maintain the information that we gave to the ministry is the information we got firsthand from South Africa.
So a number of things I picked from what you have said. That one, the South African police have admitted that they got the name of the deceased wrong. They admitted that.
Correct.
But yet they haven't changed it in any of their correspondence. I see. But have you pointed out that to them? What are they saying?
Yes, we have indicated that to them, and they tell us that they are working on changing the document and the statement that they issued. The statement they issued was in a rush. It was just a statement to quickly react to whatever our ministry has put out there. But it was very important that our ministry put out those facts there. If not, we wouldn't be where we are. Why do I say this? In October 2025, in October, when I took over as the High Commissioner, just some few days after, a gentleman by name Samuel Asante, a Ghanaian, was killed in the same vicinity in October last year. Now, in February this year as well, another Ghanaian by name Michael Odro was also killed in the same vicinity. Anytime we raise issues through the International Department for International Relationships, nothing is done. So if we had also kept quiet about this particular murder, this distasteful act of murdering citizens, especially of Ghana, this is the 3rd Ghanaian that has done. And they've brushed all aside. They do nothing about it. So I think that it was against this backdrop that the minister felt that, no, we need to speak about it and get them to react and do what is necessary. So I believe that in one way or the other, we've gotten them to now admit that these 3 murders that have happened are in no way going to be left off the hook. They are going to investigate it and ensure that justice is sought for the Ghanaians who have lost their lives in this area.
So this is quite troubling. So you say last year, October, a Ghanaian was killed in this same area?
Yes.
And February
by name,
this year?
Samuel Asante, yes.
Samuel Asante?
Yes.
And February this year, another Ghanaian was killed?
Michael Odro was also killed in the same vicinity. All in the name of what the police want us to believe. The narrative that they feel is right for them to use is that they were killed because they didn't pay protection fees. The protection fee is what these hood.
Sorry, unfortunate. Sorry. The High Commissioner's connection is off. We will try to reconnect with him again. But Kofi Bento is in studio. Mr. Bento, I mean, hearing this is, I mean, we're just even talking about this incident. Apparently, there's been previous incidents of Ghanaians being killed. In October last year, February this year, this has happened. For what? Failing to pay fees. What's the punishment?
They say for failing to pay the protection fee. So, South Africa has a very terrible crime problem. I mean, it's well known, murders and all those other things. So it's possible that there was this protection fee racket going on. But in this time when you can see that there is a lot of xenophobia, the blacks are chasing people around, you can't tell whether it's protection fee or it's just xenophobia. And
yes,
you look at this recent murder, for instance, clearly, and I'm saying this on air, and I'm saying it, I know your thing is international, okay? I think the South African authorities are complicit.
South African authorities
They
are complicit?
are complicit because clearly they are not interested in getting to the bottom of these matters. All right? Somebody dies, even the name of the person, you are not interested in getting it right. They clearly don't want to do this work. All right? Look, it is time we do something serious about South Africa. Now, we are talking about not renewing the Goldfields lease. We should never do that. Okay? But that's not enough. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, South Africa needs us more than we need them. All right? And to the extent that you do so much business here and the rest of Africa, all these people, most of them, you find out they are barbers, hairdressers, shopkeepers. They are not doing work which is, giving them millions and whatever it is. It's just the normal thing that people, human beings do, going from one place to the other, okay, to work for a living. And clearly, my worry is that the governments of South Africa, if they wanted to deal with this, they would deal with it. But you can see what the High Commissioner is saying. Even getting the facts right on the file, they are messing it up. And it doesn't look like they are giving any seriousness to this whole matter. So look, if I was to speak to our government today or our foreign minister was here today, I would say, please, tell South Africa that we need seriousness on this matter. We want to see arrests. We want to see people brought to book. Or in the next 3 months, we will suspend diplomatic relations with you. We should do that. We will suspend diplomatic relations because it doesn't make sense to have friendship with somebody who is killing you.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense
have friendship
to
with somebody.
pretend to be friends with somebody who is killing you. Now listen, South Africa, as we know, was an apartheid for all these years. Okay, the wealth of South Africa was built by the whites who basically looted their resources, took as much as they could, and then built that country for them. Now, after apartheid, black people are trying to take over. They've made a mess of it.
Yeah.
Okay, but clearly, look at the track. After they lost the full control, and I say full control because in the past they had full control. Now they've lost some control, but they still have a lot of control over the natural resources, etc. What they've done, because the rest of Africa opened up, is that they've taken the South African companies like MTN, like Absa, like ShopRite, all those big companies, and they've gone out into the rest of Africa. Now, what they lost after apartheid ended, they are getting back that by going into the rest of Africa.
Right.
The point I'm making is that check everywhere in the world whether you see MTN. You won't. But it's one of the biggest telecom companies in the world. Why? Because South Africa has Africa to get money from. Check where most of the multinational companies coming out of an African continent are coming from into the rest of Africa. It's South Africa. And you won't see them anywhere else in the world. In other words, this one country that we helped to gain independence and whatever it is still making a lot of money from us. And we are not saying we are not benefiting. I'm not asking you to go and close down MTN. I'm saying they are making tons of money from us and still treating us as if we are servants, beggars, hewers of water and wood. So my point is, it doesn't make sense to be friends with a country that is killing your people and driving them out. So I would say, dear Mr. President, you've brought our people out of South Africa. The whole world is hailing you. They are killing Ghanaians. We don't want a situation where Ghanaians are reacting in the same way. Okay? Give them 3 months to bring up those people and to stop this thing. Otherwise, suspend diplomatic relations with South Africa. Listen, let me land on this.
Right.
If you look at our trade with South Africa, we don't buy much from them, honestly. We have a trade surplus with them.
Yes.
Mainly because we export gold. The Goldfields matter we are talking about. And you know what they do? They don't refine the gold here. So they do take the Doré gold, okay, and the Doré gold's value is less than refined gold. And then they take it off to South Africa and record it. So we almost always have a trade surplus with them. They go and refine it there, get better value and go. I am not accusing them of anything because I don't have the facts, but clearly, okay, that thing is the reason why we have that trade surplus. And that itself is problematic.
Yeah.
Because if they did a better job with the gold, there will be better value going out. You understand? My fundamental point is South Africa needs us more. We import wine from there. What will happen to Ghana if we don't drink wine? And there's nothing we import from South Africa which we can't get from elsewhere. Okay? We're not going to attack their companies like MTN and Go who are doing a good job here. But they must feel the pinch. Because like I said the last time, if you are making money from here in the rest of Africa, you should put some pressure on your government to respect the people who you are trading with and making money and, repatriating the money into your country. So for me, this thing, we should not take it lightly at all.
Absolutely. You make the proposal that you want a 3 months period.
Find the people,
deadline,
prosecute them. Yes. Otherwise, Ghana should suspend. And when Ghana leaks, the rest of Africa will follow. They will sit up. Suspend diplomatic relations with South Africa. What do we need them for? What do we need them for?
It's gotten to that point.
Oh, absolutely, yes. People are dying. People are dying. And it's not like they are taking it seriously. You even get the name of the person wrong. Who told them the other name? Okay? It shows they don't care. Our ambassador has told you the correct name. Change it on the paper. You don't even want to change it. Okay? And clearly, after all this time, they are shifting around the issue. It suggests to me that, one, they don't care. Okay? And they think that this will also go away just like every other thing. And I'm saying, look, this is one too many. And it's not the first time. After we having to spend money to go and repatriate our people, if we didn't repatriate them, maybe more people will be dead. Do we want another person to be dead? And my bottom line is this. Don't pretend to be friends with somebody who is killing you. It doesn't make sense.
Wonderful. Kofi Bento, thank you so much for this. Let me acknowledge the presence of Haruna Mohammed, is the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. Mr. Mohammed, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Akansi.
Also joining us is a former coursemate of mine. We graduated the same year from Accra Academy. He chose a different path. He's a member of parliament now and a private legal practitioner as well. Bernard Bediako Beidou is member of parliament for the Akwatia constituency. Lobby, morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
So it's now an Accra family here.
No, it had to be established because we celebrate him.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for coming.
Thank
the first time.
Thank you.
Perfect. Council, on this, and the ambassador the High Commissioner is back. Can you hear me, Mr. Kwashi?
Yes, Alfred. Yes, Alfred, I can hear you.
The October murder and the February murder that you talk about.
Yes.
What has the High Commission done about these two instances?
Well, we've reported to the Department of International Relations. Usually, we are not allowed as a diplomatic mission to deal directly with the police. Whatever you do, you have to do it through their form of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We've done that. We've been waiting on them for the reports that they promised to give us. They've not given us any report, but those cases have been open. Investigations are ongoing, and we want to believe that now that this has come up and the whole world is listening to it now, they'll expedite action on it and make sure that we get those murders resolved for us to know exactly what happened to our citizens.
I see, but have there been conclusion or closure to the murders? There's the last year, October 1 and this February 1. Has there been investigations? What has the outcome been?
What we've been told is that their investigations are still ongoing and that they have not even arrested any single individual. Now, when the minister insisted that we should go to the police station where this issue happened at, when we got there, we were told by people in the community that they are aware that 2 people out of the 9 that murdered our citizen have been arrested. Now, the police was keeping that information from us until we told them that we have picked up intel that 2 people have been arrested out of the 9 people that were there. And they've confirmed to us that, yes, indeed, 2 people have been arrested and that investigations are ongoing. So in the last murder case of Bashiru Isaac, 2 of the 9 people have been arrested and investigations are still ongoing.
This is troubling, to say the least. Martin Pebo, this is it. Have we gotten to the point where we have to flex our muscles strongly to send that clear message, as Ms. Bento is saying, to the South African government, that he says, look, they are complicit. They're condemning this verbally, but as we speak, not much has been done about it. And that has resulted in this killing, which they are giving a different account of. Well,
yeah, yes, absolutely. I mean, this about in terms of the key points, it's the 3rd or 4th time we are discussing
about
it.
The 3rd time,
and
yes.
Making the same point that the regime is complicit. Okay? The regime is complicit. complicit. So under international law, see, the last I was referring to the Vienna Convention on diplomatic relations, and most especially to the Vienna Convention on the consular relations, right? So under international law, the South African government has an obligation, and it's a plethora of decided cases, to protect our citizens. So the moment our citizens are being killed like flies, okay, and investigations don't go anywhere, then you begin to see the complicity of the state in it. And also, most especially with the fact that they have elections looming. So the government doesn't want to lose the elections, so it doesn't want to go hard on the citizens. And so it is very clear that they are complicit. That much, I'm convinced, and we've been making that point. They are complicit. If they wanted to protect our citizens, they know what to do. But because they are not interested, then they do these half-hearted attempts. Half-hearted. You see, even when we started repatriating our citizens, they didn't, I mean, they are happy. Yeah, that's why I say they are happy. Have you seen them make
Well, they said it was an exaggerated, response, and that,
The fact that somebody is dead proves that it's not
absolutely.
exaggerated.
Yeah,
True.
you see, those are words. As for, like they say, talk is cheap. Talk is very cheap. So they'll string any words together and then put them out. Yes, but bottom line, when we started repatriating our citizens, what did they do? What did they do? I think the only one I saw was the Malema, who said, oh, no, we should hold on, they can resolve it. But what power does Malema wield? He doesn't wield much, right? So that's the only time I saw them say, oh, no, we should wait, they can resolve it. But they have not. So as for their complexity, I don't think that one should waste our time now. No, it shouldn't waste our time. The key thing now we should be looking at, fast forward, is how we will get compensation for our citizens for the manner in which, the South African government is failed to protect our citizens, leading to their deaths. And most especially, we too should be looking at the retaliatory steps. Very, very important. Yes, you scratch my back, I scratch your back.
So you're on the same path with Mr. Benji.
Yes, we've made this point. I would be very upset if government renewed the Goldfields contract. I'll be extremely upset. Under no circumstances should that Goldfields contract be renewed. They have gold in their country. They should stay there and mine. Not here. Look, I'll tell you this. Between renewing this for the South Africans and giving this mine to Ibrahim Mahama, I will go for Ibrahim Mahama, because now we are becoming wiser. Look, no matter what, I'm not saying they should give it to Ibrahim Mahama, but I'm saying that should tell you the extent of my revolt, okay? That rather than that, I will even condone, so to speak. Okay, let me rephrase. It will be better in our national interest to give it to our citizen, right? It doesn't matter that the citizen will have relations in power, etc., than to allow these South Africans to continue to mine this gold and take it out there. Because look, and they don't even treat our citizens well. I can tell you, I even have one case in court like that. She was treated shabbily, sacked, and the job exported to South Africa. This thing that they are taking our jobs, they are taking our... Look, you have no idea. It's just that we don't want to talk about everything. There will never be time to talk about all those things, right? But if you talk to citizens, you see how they are repressed. They are repressive in this country and working for these guys. So there's no way I'll support government renewing that lease, that mining lease. I would rather we give it to our own citizens so that, and there will be conditions to make sure that the money stays here. If it stays here, we will have the same employment, etc., right? And in any event, who even says that government can no longer attempt to mine the gold by itself? Yes, we failed in the past. I know citizens stole, etc. But now, like we keep saying, you see, the country is changing. We keep saying that I think now we are wiser. Are we saying that today in Ghana, if we want to do a non-political selection, we will not be able to find citizens fit to mine for Ghana? We would, but it's our own greed.
But Goldfields says, look, they highlight some $5 billion investment, over 70% of their revenue stays in Ghana, and so on. I mean, you're wishing all of that away?
Yes. They should just go to their country.
This is the response again, and I'm sure you're aware of this.
They should go to their country.
I'm just telling you.
That is
Yes.
a good... Look, whatever Goldfields is doing in Ghana, a Ghanaian can do.
Yes.
All right? Look, like you mentioned, Ibrahim Ahmad, fine. Let's just use him. The man has proven that he can do it. Now, give him the same deal. Look at exactly what Goldfish is doing and say that retain the people, do da. They bring 6 or so South Africans here to come and supervise our people. 95% of the people working there are Ghanaians.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this argument they've been making all over the place, and I keep getting a lot of reaction because of what I've said in the past. My point is, there is nothing Goldfish is doing in Ghana that we cannot insist that even if we give it to Ibrahim, he should also do the same thing. You understand?
Okay.
So there's a bottom line, and I agree with Martin. That thing is non-negotiable. Absolutely, we can't renew that thing. If we renew it, this government will pay a very, very high price for it. And we will continue to harass them. We will continue to harass them. So please, that is off the table. Now I'm saying we should go to the point where we are telling them that if you don't stop this thing, we don't have to be friends with you. We can survive without South Africa. After all, before apartheid, we didn't do anything with them. We can survive without South Africa.
Over $1 billion trade between the two countries.
What do we import from South Africa? Check. Wine. What do we import from South Africa? Wine. And they come and take gold here in raw form, undervalue it, ship it over, and then we'll record a trade surplus. We can survive without them.
Yes, so definitely, look, we should. Mr. Okansi, I think I want to yield at least like 2 minutes of my time. Can we play what the Nigerian senator said in the Nigerian Senate? Yes, the last time I sent it to Abdallah. Yes, so I think I should keep it. Let's play. Let me just keep quiet. Let's see what the Nigerians are saying. Because Ghanaians, we like this. Farmer Nyami. We've suffered a lot under it. Everything, we love peace. And then people are taking all our resources, even internally amongst us. When politicians come, we want to make noise. What is this? We must fight back. So let me keep quiet. Let me yield so that we play what the Nigerians are saying. Yes.
Council, thank you. Well, they have also taken the same path of repatriating their citizens back to the country. So, yes, that's just to... and let me call on to you, Bernard Bediako-Bedu, on this matter. And this issue took center stage in Parliament at some point when it started. Yeah. Members of Parliament had cause to charge government to act. Now we're hearing of the death of this latest case of murder, because what we are hearing now is that at least over the last 8 months, between October and now, 3 Ghanaians have been killed, if what the ambassador, the High Commissioner is saying is anything to go by. A worthy retaliatory measure to send a strong message, what should that be?
Well, thank you, my brother, and good morning to you and your team, and then my seniors on the table. And then good morning to the High Commissioner. It's unfortunate that we continue to discuss this matter. It's been on for a while, and one would have thought that at least by now the authorities in South Africa, because when this thing happened, I remember they released a statement, condemned it, and assured that they would take action against, because of course it is not within any citizen's right to take up arms and insist on the kind of demands they are making in there, because of course they have their law enforcement officers as well. If you have any, but I'm a bit surprised, because if you are demonstrating in your country, you demonstrate against the authorities. You don't demonstrate against someone who sitting here somewhere, as we normally put it. So I'm a bit surprised why, but it appears the government has, if it's not an accomplice, then they've sat down for far too long, and this has metamorphosed into something beyond them. Because it appears now the entire country or citizenry are up in arms, and it is not going to be able, they are not going to be able to control them, as I see from here. We will talk about us, and yes, government has taken some measures, brought citizens, but you see, we must say that what happened, the repatriation was purely voluntary. The government couldn't have demanded or insisted that at all cost or whatever it may take, come to your country. You had to volunteer to come. And I think at this moment, we should also appeal to our citizens there. You see, there is nothing more precious than life. It is getting more dangerous. please, if you find yourself in the shoes of some of our brothers and sisters, as we are hearing, submit yourself to the authorities as the High Commissioner is available for any such arrangement, so that you come back to your country in the meantime, at least in the meantime, because it appears it's their country. Yes, it's their country. If we even retaliate and they still proceed with what they are, because you see, most of the people who are demonstrating, I'm not sure, are in any way related to the very things that they get from us as a country. So they may not care. They may continue to demonstrate. So I personally would, in the moment, appeal to them to seek their livelihoods, their lives first, and then their livelihoods. At the end of the day, if you come to your country and then we are able to sort these matters out, you may go back if you so wish. But you see, this what the senator may have said, and Mr. Kwebu wants it played, we've said same, or even something more solid. We said it in Parliament. We've said a lot of things in Parliament.
I know you said a lot. In fact, I know this was a matter
Yes.
that took center stage in Parliament. You know, some strong words
We did.
were used. But this is what the senator said.
What have they done
regarding
beyond what
what
they said?
Martin Kwebu was referring to? Take a look, just briefly.
We didn't. We did.
Diplomacy, there is the law of reciprocity. So my view is that it is time to reciprocate. This Senate should adopt a position that MTN, a South African company that is cutting away millions of dollars from Nigeria every day, that Nigeria nationalize it and withdraw its license, so that Nigeria company can take over the MTN business and recruit more people. Those coming from South Africa will find good jobs working with the company that will replace MTN. And I know that South Africa president has interest in MTN. The second is that we ask the Minister of Communication of the federal government to revoke the DSTV, which is also a South Africa company that is cutting away millions of dollars, even abusing, resorting to practices that will not even be accepted in South Africa. I don't want this Senate to be shedding tears to sympathize with those who have died.
Some will describe these measures proposed as quite extreme. I mean, obviously, we'll have to look at our country's specific situation even before we think about what the Nigerian senator is talking about. And I'm sure that's one of the issues that will be at the back of minds of the members of parliament when this thing came out.
There is a popular saying that talk is cheap. I listened to, or I came across this video a while ago. Beyond what was said, what has been done by the Nigerian authorities, it is not easy like that. I'm not saying we can't do it at all.
We got independence ahead of them.
No,
we are not the same. We are sharper than them.
You see, you said that I don't know whether it was just the speech or you want to support the speech with some actions of the Nigerian authorities. But you know, we even repatriated our citizens, I mean, long ago, before they even thought of doing so. We've said same in the Parliament of the Republic. I think that, yes, if it gets to that point, we may have to also explore. But at the moment, they are not really, attacking our companies there, or they are saying that illegal immigrants. If it is the case, ideally, everybody knows that an illegal immigrant is an illegal immigrant. But it doesn't lie. That's where the problem lies. It doesn't lie in your bosom as a citizen to take up arms and then go fight or go seek the withdrawal of such a person from your country. It doesn't lie. And that is where the lawlessness comes in. If the authorities of South Africa are not willing, then we may also have to take a decision. I'm saying that first and foremost, with what is happening, our citizens should reconsider staying in South Africa at the moment. Because they've said, the High Commissioner, as I heard him say, they said they will continue demonstrating. And it's quite violent. The demonstration is not a peaceful one. They are out there violently attacking people they perceive. I don't even know, how do they determine who is, would they ask of your documents right there? And if you are not able to produce your documents, you are declared.
They go for the weakest people in their society. In fact, they attacked some white people, and the white people shot back at them with guns, and they ran away.
I see.
And so for me, yes, we should appeal to our citizens there. If you find yourself in such a situation, please report to the High Commission and find your way back to the country. At least if you have life, you have, and it is not only South Africa you can travel to, but the challenge is that most of them have lived there, they have their livelihoods, they have their family, and then all that there. But at the moment, at least, seek your life first before every other thing will be spoken about. It is shameful that South Africa, you see, even at the World Cup, when they were eliminated, it was as if the entire Africa, everybody was happy that they should go home. Unfortunately, we also joined them. But it is so shameful to have this, on this day, because South Africa, we all know the history. I mean, we all supported them in one way or the other. Nigerians say so, we also say. And you come today and tell us that you don't need our people there. Yes, we have all these entities here. I think it will be extreme, but it is not undoable. We can't do it, at least to also pay. But I'm saying that the people who are demonstrating may not be beneficiaries of whatever they are taking from our country. So they have nothing to lose. They will be there doing all kinds of things, ensuring that, and I do not also know how this can really affect the economy as they claim. If you don't have jobs, because if you don't have the documentation, and the High Commissioner may educate us, I'm not too sure the kind of jobs people are taking from them as they claim.
It's not about that.
So what is the issue? They are even contributing to your economy because most of them are entrepreneurs who are doing their own thing there. So I am not too sure what exactly the issues with even the so-called illegal immigrants really are. Even in America, they are illegal immigrants. They are not doing what we are doing. Don't you have your own people elsewhere? So if we have to get to that point, I'm sure the government is studying all this. And I'm also aware that some communication, it's only that the government of the day in South Africa appears not interested. Well, let me put it this way for now. Not interested, because if they really want to do something, they can. What has happened over the period, they said they were investigating. Because during those periods, we had pockets of people moved to public places, hospitals, filmed it, and they were attacking people. We saw the videos. And later they came to tell us some of the videos were fake. Can you imagine? Yeah. And all this. So it appears nobody, to the extent that people have lost their lives and you don't even have record of them. Go do this, you don't want to do it. You are investigating, you are not giving us report. Really, that's why somebody would say that they are complicit. And because if you are not, the state has, if they were attacking the government, and we've seen it before, if the demonstration was geared or was against the authorities there, they would have fought back.
Right.
But it's because, of course, they don't have any interest, and the election, as we know, is also upcoming, and so they are being careful. But all in all, I am interested in the welfare of our people. If this is what is happening there, we've spoken about this, please walk or speak to the High Commissioner, and I think he may, the High Commissioner, His Excellency, may also guide us on, moves they are making to, appeal to these people. So we've brought in some. We want more. They should come. They should come, because if you have life, you have everything. I don't think it is a safe place to be at this moment. It's not at all. It's not at all.
I'll be going back to the High Commissioner to find out what the latest directive is on the repatriation, because they put it on hold at some point because the numbers were quite large, or it was becoming overwhelming, and so they had to review it. But Haruna Mohammed, your take on this. It's gotten to a point where across the table it's clear that we cannot remain silent. There has to be a strong message sent diplomatically, and then through other means to ensure that we let the South African government know in clear and uncertain terms that we are not happy about what's happening. Somebody has been killed as a result of this. What would be your recommendation, quickly?
Okay, thank you very much, Okansi. I will say good morning to your cherished viewers and good morning to my seniors on the platform. And good morning to His Excellency, the former Vice President and the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. It's very sad that we are discussing this particular matter, and this is a matter that is reoccurring in all times, and it's becoming one too many for us to be witnessing such attacks from South Africa, to the extent that Ghanaian citizens are killed, and there's a lot of misrepresentation in regards to the people who have been killed. Listening to the entire conversation, I am of the view that His Excellency, the ambassador to South Africa, should further conduct investigation, because some of them believe that the name that they had put out different from what the embassy had put out. Probably they have killed another person, because where did they get the name from, and how did they arrive that that person has been killed? And we need to investigate and go further to find out why and how that particular name has emanated from them. We need to take this particular matters very serious. A single Ghanaian life that is lost is something that we have to fight, because the citizens of Ghana, their lives are so important to us, just as the resources that we have. And I think that the South African government must act responsibly to ensure that some of these things are put behind us and to stop. I am still thinking to see why this particular attacks has been reoccurring. One, you hear they are attacking shops, they are attacking state institutions, they are attacking, and this is something that has become an annual ritual. They have been doing it and all that. What at all is happening in South Africa? And what at all do they seek to benefit when they have these attacks ongoing? I think that we need to take the lives of Ghanaian citizens very serious. And I believe that I think that we need to take strong measures against South Africa. If you weigh the economic benefit that we get from them and also what they get from us, I think that we are not getting that much from them, because they are also getting something from us. And I think we need to look at that and take a very critical measure against South Africa. They are not above any law in the world. Not only killing only Ghanaian citizens, even their own citizens. It is not proper to kill people in such a manner that they are doing. And for me, I'm all for it, that Ghana must defend itself, defend its territories, and defend its people. And that is what I will go for.
Perfect. Now, Mr. Kosh, can you hear us? Now, quickly, regarding the repatriation, and I have a number of questions as well that the panel want some inquiries, that some clarification on it from you. Regarding the repatriation of Ghanaians who voluntarily and are willing to come back home, how many so far have we brought home, if you have that?
We brought almost 926. As we speak now, we have 900 that have been screened and approved to be repatriated. They've given us their names voluntarily. So the 900 that is currently in South Africa are ready to be repatriated home. We are just waiting on the ministry, and once the ministry gives us the green light as to the date of the repatriation, we'll let everybody know.
And the numbers could go high from what you're receiving?
Well, from what we're receiving, we believe that it should be right about that number, because these are people that have come from all the provinces in South Africa that have indicated to us that they don't want to stay in the country again. And remember, just like one of our distinguished panelists said, this is a voluntary repatriation. So government has given the opportunity that you should go home if you want to go home, and if you feel that you're not making ends meet in South Africa. So currently, we have 900 that are with us, that have been registered, that have been screened by the departments that are supposed to screen them in South Africa, ready to be evacuated home.
How many Ghanaians in total are in South Africa, based on your records?
Well, based on our record, we have close to about 17,000 Ghanaians here in South Africa.
About 17,000 Ghanaians.
Yes, per the last registration that we have, and it's still ongoing. Currently, that's the number we have. We believe it might go high, but those who have registered that we have their names at the High Commission, we have almost 17,000 Ghanaians.
I see. And is the High Commission also, and you've heard the recommendations about the clear message that we have to send to the South African government, because it cannot be the case that they are not complicit in the situation, at least taking into consideration the fact that they have acted less than what we expect of them. Is the High Commission also thinking about some other means and measures to send this clear message as a result of the killing of citizens that are under your care?
Well, I think our mandate is clear: to protect the life, properties, and everything that belongs to Ghanaians here in South Africa. So we don't take it lightly. Not a single life of a Ghanaian should just go the way it is happening, and then we will be happy at the High Commission. Under the direction of the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, we every day ensure that the safety of the Ghanaian here in South Africa is something that we cannot compromise. That is why over the months that we've taken over, we've done a lot in terms of consular services to the Ghanaian people, and we've gone to the very far ends of South Africa to make sure that some of the Ghanaians that found themselves in works and in activities that we felt that was demeaning to Ghanaians, we brought them from those provinces, and they are all in the capital, trying as entrepreneurs to get things done and make ends meet. So we continue to work to ensure the welfare of the Ghanaian citizen, and like I indicated to you, we will not shy away from that responsibility. That responsibility we hold very dear to our hearts at the High Commission.
How about the point that Erna Mohammed made regarding the names, the two different names giving? This Bashiru Isaac that you have as the identity of the person who was killed, the Ghanaian who was killed, and then this Kwabena Boaheng that the South African authorities are also giving. Could it be that there's another Ghanaian who has been killed with that name, which they have in their records?
Well, they claim that that name was given to them by a passerby who they believe that is a Ghanaian. We don't know who that person is, but they said, the gentleman was shot in front of his shop. So he was there on the ground for almost 7 hours. And so somebody was passing and said, "Oh, I know him. His name is Kwabena Boaheng." We don't know who that person is, but that's what the story the police are giving us. But it's something worth noting from what has been indicated. So at the High Commission, we would institute measures to find out how indeed they got that name, and if there's anything we need to investigate about it, we'll do that.
Now, and maybe quickly and finally, before we go, what is going to be done in the coming days regarding this death, this killing, the murder of this Ghanaian? What should we expect from you, the High Commissioner?
Well, so we're not going to let it just go as it has been in times past. What we've done under the direction of the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, one, is that we are repatriating the body back home. We don't want the body to be buried in South Africa. Two, we are in talks with the Department of Social Welfare here in South Africa to have the 3 kids of the deceased repatriated back home or evacuated back home. We've spoken to the grandfather and the father to the late, who has said that bring the kids home. I want to take care of them himself. And we will seek justice for not only Bashiru, but for our colleagues that have also died. The other 2 that I gave you their names, both Michael Odro and also the other gentleman that passed away in such similar circumstances. We are going all out to ensure that the police investigate this matter and it comes to a logical conclusion. We're not going to allow them to just play with this case and allow it as others have happened until justice is sought for our citizens who have lost their life in such very despicable manner. We are not going to rest. And I have the strong support and guidance from the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, and we are going all out to ensure that that happens. What the South Africans are trying to do, which we should all understand, is that they're trying to run away from the the fact of the matter. The fact is that was somebody murdered? Yes. Was the person murdered in cold blood? Yes. What are you doing about it? We shouldn't talk about the day the incidents happened, how it happened, but they should investigate and ensure that justice is sought for the person who was killed.
I see. And till now, you still don't have the autopsy report?
No, we don't have the official autopsy report. The autopsy have been done. Under normal circumstances, what happens is that we are given a copy before the Department of International Relations gets its copy that they'll forward to us. But they've indicated clearly that with this one, they want to send it to the International Relations Department for them to send to us. As of late last night, the Honorable Minister called insisting that we should write to the Department of International Relations seeking that they should, as a matter of agency, give us a copy of the autopsy report. This is what we are waiting for. We've written to them and we are hoping that because it's a weekend, we might not get it this weekend, but on Monday we'll get it so that we can forward it to Accra to the minister and then we'll take directives from the ministry.
I see. Thank you. Mr. Bento, quick one on this as we round up.
I hear him. You know, at first we thought it was one person. And then when the High Commissioner was speaking, we learned it was two. Right now, we just learned it's three.
Three, yes.
Okay.
3. October,
you know, yeah.
and then
3
February
people.
this year.
And then he's talking about the things that they are doing and what, you know, our minister is calling for and that kind of thing. Clearly, when you are not the government, you are just a high commissioner and we are acting from our country there, there's so much you can do. You can call for, you know, ask them for this, we want this done. I don't think they will do it. So the question is, what will you do? What will you do? Again, I think our minister, our leaders here should say, we want you to do all these things. You have your problems. We also have our problems. If in 3 months you haven't made progress, we suspend our relationship. We didn't say we are canceling, we suspend it. And we follow on. Look, they are repatriating millions of dollars from this economy every year. Clearly, you will need some sort of government, you know, assistance to do stuff like that. Our investment regimes allow those things. And note that I am not saying the same thing as the Nigerian senator is saying, even though I don't disagree with him. I won't go that far. Okay? But suspending our relations, we can easily do that. Okay? They can still do their business. Then, when it comes to we as a country assisting them to repatriate their money, we should withdraw all that assistance. All of that assistance. If we go forward, and again, I'm not saying we should run them out of town, but we can find ways of using policy to make sure that they don't have things as easy as they have had in the past. So what I'm saying to High Commissioner and to Mr. President and to our Foreign Minister and everybody involved is that we have so much we can do to control what the South African authorities do. So let us use the tools we have. And these are some of the things I've, you know, talked about. Suspend our relationship with them diplomatically. Number 2, make sure that we tighten the screws on their companies here when it comes to repatriating their money. Okay? The cedi's value against the dollar, okay, has a lot to do with what some of those companies do. But we've bought into it, so we are not complaining. True. So short of running them out of town, we should not bend backwards to help them when they are killing us.
So, Mr. Bento, thank you very much. And His Excellency Benjamin Kwashi, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And any idea when this repatriation exercise will resume? Because that's another message from one of our viewers. They have a family there. They are hoping. They understand the family has registered to come back, but they don't know when the repatriation will resume. Can you unmute for me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, because of the numbers of the citizens from Malawi who are being, their government is also repatriating some of their citizens. They have close to 10,000 people that the Department of Home Affairs in South Africa is working on. So they are working on the Malawians and they are at the same time working on the Nigerians. Nigeria had its 4th flight leaving just yesterday. So we hope that from next week, they will be free, and then they'll start attending to us at the Ghana High Commission. So we would let the Ghanaians here who have written their names and who have gone through screening know before the close of next week, we should know exactly on which dates the flights that are going to take them to Ghana will be available.
I thank you very much for this information. Appreciate you. And I wish you well. All the best.
Thank you.
Benjamin Kwashi is Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa there. Now, it's one thing that we'll keep an eye on, because the killing of Ghanaians, totally unacceptable, condemned across board, and demands that have been made. So we'll watch how the coming days will be like. With respect to, for instance, the specific case of the official autopsy of this, our brother, Bashiru Isaac. And we're going with this name because the High Commission has done their job. Bashiru Isaac, who has been killed by the South Africans there. Regardless of whatever circumstance which is being contended, a life has been lost. That's the issue. And talking about lives that have been lost, that leads us to our next matter, the floods. The floods were upon us almost a week ago. And the death toll, not good. In fact, it's brought up a number of issues as to what has to be done going forward. That's really the focus of the conversation this morning, because we, over the years, have spent money to deal with this same problem, this same challenge of floods, but we don't seem to have a headway, and it's not looking good. Based on the information as of yesterday, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, and Mr. Richard Amoyate is going to be joining us shortly. He is a director in charge of the Inspectorate of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO. Also, Dr. Kojo Ohene Safo is the coordinator of the GARID project. He is also going to be joining us in the studio to have a conversation on this particular matter and to put issues into perspective here on the key point. And as we go on, we'll have a structural engineer also join us, Engineer Abdullahi Mahama, to deal with the matters on the table. But the Ghana Meteorological Agency gave us information, and that has not been proven to be wrong, that the rains were going to come and come very, very hard this month of June, July 2026. As we speak, the evidence of this rains is what we are seeing now. 34 lives lost. That is information from the National Disaster Management Organization. 34 lives. And I'm going to walk you through it, and stay with me every step of the way. Out of these 34 lives, Ghanaians who have died as a result of the floods between Sunday and Monday, we have some 12 of them, 12 of the deceased in the Greater Accra region, unfortunately. And the Central region leads with the number of persons who have died as a result of the floods, 18. And in the Volta region, 4. Let me welcome Mr. Richard Amoyate. He's a Director of Inspectorate at the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO. Mr. Amoyate, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Also, Dr. Kojo Ohene Safo is the National Coordinator of the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development. That's the GARID project. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Okansi.
Thank you for joining us this morning as well. Let me take the latest from NADMO, right, regarding this, the death toll. Has there been any change in the statistics?
Well, let me start by saying good morning to my fellow panelists, and then good morning to my Director General and all NADMO and collaborating agencies who are working around the clock to support our compatriots who were affected by the floods of 29th June. Yeah, the death toll hasn't changed. It's still 34. It's the people who were displaced that the figure has changed across the country. It now stands at 91,046. 91,046, with Greater Accra having the highest figure.
91,046 people displaced.
Yes, across. No, this displacement was temporary because most of the people who were kept in safe havens have gone back and then cleaning, whilst others also took shelter with family and friends.
I see. And the Greater Accra account for the highest?
The highest, followed by Central Region.
How many? Do you have that breakdown for me?
Central Region has 21,882. Then Volta Region, 8,534. Then we have Western Region, 2,020. Then Ashanti Region, 1,461. Western North, 937. And then Eastern Region, 190.
I see. So these are 7 regions.
Yes, 7 regions.
That were impacted by the floods.
Yeah.
And these displaced persons, how's the relief going?
Yeah, currently we are doing massive relief across all the 7 regions. We are deploying food and non-food items to the affected persons across the country.
I see. And this is where I bring in Dr. Kojo Ohen Safo, is the GARID coordinator. We know, and gentlemen, we know the causes of flooding over the years in this country. The choked drains or drains that have not been properly constructed, small drains as we've seen in this country, people building on waterways, on Ramsar sites and wetlands, as we have seen, taking over. People are paid to ensure that this does not happen. We're sitting in this country and it is happening. As for the refuse, dealing with refuse and ensuring that it doesn't choke drains, so we have had to even pay for that particular issue with the sanitation and pollution levy. And I'm going to show you how much was accrued as a result of that levy. What it has done, the evidence of what we saw when it comes to the rubbish being also disposed indiscriminately by our very own people, choking drains, contributing to what we're seeing. So this is not new. In fact, we knew that was going to happen. The president in that speech, after he flew in the helicopter to assess the situation from the skies, said Ghana Meteorological Agency had indicated that this was going to happen. June, July, we're going to have a lot of rain. So we knew that this was going to come. Preparation is the matter on the table now. And that's why the presence of Dr. Safo is extremely important. After this particular incident, we've had you put out this.
Yes.
And I'm going to do this with you because you own this document. What are we seeing here?
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Okansi. So what we have been doing is to monitor the situation as to the places where our water bodies are taking their sources from. Mm-hmm. We're also focusing on the channels that our water bodies are going through up to where the outfall is, whether it is exiting to the sea or wherever. We are trying to track the nature of the development in those locations because what happens there would ultimately affect the capacity of the city to drain whenever there's rain. So some of the images we are going to show is comparisons, and that is showing the scale because you see, we all talk about, we know that people are building waterways, but what is the scale? If you see the scale of what is happening, it gives you a sense of the nature of the challenge. Mm. So you see that the image to the left is showing, for the very same spot, a certain section of the Ebri hillside. Ebri hillsides. Mm-hmm. Now the hillsides, you see that this is one of the roads. Oops, sorry.
No, that's okay.
The roads leading up to the hill, up to the top of the hill.
Yes.
You see some developments on the right-hand side of that section, but on the left-hand side, there's virtually nothing happening. This is 2023. 3 years later, you see that the developments on the right hand of the road have increased.
I see more buildings there.
You see now they are plotting on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
people have started scraping the surfaces
They
for
are
development
demarcating their lands.
all over. Now, what this does is that it reduces the capacity of the existing ground to absorb some of the runoff. What the greens does is that it allows water, as it rains, to be absorbed into the natural aquifer, which is underground.
I see.
But once you scrape it, it
Absolutely.
creates a demand to channelize the rain.
True.
And so now some of these personal development efforts is creating a city problem. The regime that we have presently is such that we don't take into cognizance the hydrological impact of a development. So somebody submits a planning application, the assembly would look at it, vet it, and approve it. Except that they perhaps would look at the site analysis without looking at what is the impact of this development in terms of flooding downstream.
So somebody's failing at their job.
Well,
That's why this is happening.
exactly.
I think we
I
have
mean,
to put it quite
it's
clearly.
it's a systems
Because
issue.
if you're
So-
saying that this is not supposed to be happening, it is happening, and it's actually increasing. The buildings are increasing over
Exactly.
here. Somebody is sleeping on his job.
Well, but you have to understand that it's part of a system. So it's systemic failures at different junctures that have combined to the... So somebody failing at a job, you're right. Institutional capacity is an issue. But just this one of the images we wanted to point out. So at the sources, you would see that these developments, when they are not controlled and they are not managed well, because there are, in other countries, people build on hillsides, but the regime for that is different from ordinarily anywhere else. For example, there must be impact charges, which is different from if you were building somewhere in some flat ground somewhere, because your development is generating higher adverse impacts than somebody else. So those are some of the gaps that we have in the system.
I see.
You can go to the next one. I'll just show you basins.
Let's take a
This is Tetegu. When we talk about the spillover from the Densu, we talk about Tetegu.
Yeah.
This image is a satellite image from 2010, where we have the red boundary, the specific site. In 2010, there was virtually no development here. No development here. Just a few, spots here. The rest, there was no development. Fast forward 15 years later, this is the same place, the same location. Now you see more than half of the land, and it's a wetland.
True.
It's a wetland. And the wetland's function is to receive the runoffs and to allow it to pond and naturally to percolate, go into the ground. But we've compromised the wetland.
This is 16 years down
Yes.
the line. This place, which
We've
was,
taken more than 50%.
and this is supposed to be a wetland,
It's a wetland.
It's a wetland.
Nobody's supposed to develop here.
and yet people have developed.
People have developed.
And I see buildings taking over the place.
Yes, all manner of buildings.
So who failed at his job for this to happen? I think I just want to place culpability where it has to be, so that we know exactly what we're talking about and who has to answer questions.
All right.
Who failed at his job?
The primary responsibility for land use is the local authority. That's where the primary responsibility is. So the local authority must ensure that where development must not happen, developments do not happen. Where they do happen, they have the powers to cause those developments to be removed. So insofar as those powers were not exercised, that is the first point. So to that extent, because people have always said, well, the chiefs own the land.
Yeah.
Anybody can own land. It does not matter. The right to the particular type of use of land is statutory. It's the state's power. So to that extent, you can buy the land, you can sell the land, but the state determines what function can be put in a particular location. So to that extent, it's a local development, or what they call development control issue, that they allowed it to happen.
Right.
Part of the law is that before any place is settled, there has to be local plans. The local plans must be the basis for which permits are given for developments. One would ask, was there a local plan for this area before people started building? Largely not. Largely not.
Wow.
And that is what is happening.
And the local authorities...
So you can
are just
proceed to
going
the next. So these are satellite images. These are drone shots that we took to show you what is happening.
This is a wetland.
The same Tetegu.
Tetegu wetland.
The same Tetegu.
Where buildings are not supposed to be.
They are not. All of these buildings are not supposed to be here.
But they are there.
So you see, what happens that in a dry season, when there's not a lot of water, you see that the people will come, fill up the place with laterite and start building. Some of the places, I'll show you some other images. The first action is just fence it off, do what they call dwarf wall, so a short wall to demarcate the plot and then leave it. After the next rain cycle, when we get to the next dry period, then people start developing. So what they do then is to push the water body into a narrow channel. When the whole of this area is supposed to receive the spillage, the overtopping of the drains. If this drain, for example, or this water body receives much more than the size that's available to it, it will spill over into these places.
Sure.
Now, what's going to happen is that NADMO is going to be called, come and save us. You were not supposed to be here. But now you are compelling the state to provide resources
To save you.
to save you. You can
I
show
see.
similar thing. Now, part of the things that they do is that because they push the water body, it gets into these winding shapes, just so that people can. You take a look at these.
So these are the forced redirection
Exactly.
of the flow of the
exactly,
river.
exactly.
That's troubling. I mean,
This is Malam.
Malam, 2010.
In 2010, the developments were ringing just at the borders of the what do you call it? The wetland.
Comment. Okay. Yeah, no, comment. The river. Oh, go ahead.
When he was talking about the river meandering and says it's the development that is causing it, I said, no, that's not what causes that. That is a river in its mature stage. It naturally will go that way. But that's another matter. When we get there, we'll deal with it.
If we take the satellite images from before, because we looked at satellite images going all the way back to 2002, when we get clear, you can see the channel where it's going.
Okay.
Then when you look at subsequent years, you see the patterns of development and you see the shifting patterns of the river.
Every geographer, I don't mean to. Should
Right,
I?
it's good. Contrary.
Every geographer will tell you that that is a river in its mature stage. As the years go by, it deposits and it meanders everywhere in the world. That is a delta. What you're talking about is the Densu Delta.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not a development that causes that. What the development does is it really constricts where the river can meander to. But almost every 5 or so years, the river will be changing, but definitely will be winding because it's called a river in its mature stage. When you get to that point, it's a low-lying area, it deposits and it meanders.
Not to dispute that.
Right.
What we've said, and you've agreed with that, is a delta. It's a space not for development.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
the
That's
point
another
we're making
matter.
here.
Absolutely.
That there should not be developments there. Wherever there's excess flow, there must be space for the water to at least
I don't
percolate.
mean to debate you, so when we get there, I'll make my point.
Perfect.
But,
Now,
go
so
ahead.
this is 2010,
This
Malam.
2010.
And
And when you get to
clearly-
2026, again, you look at the same space, and you see that developments have virtually taken over the whole of the wetland there. Then we can go to, so these are some of the things that we're seeing. Now, what we observed in Malam is that in Malam, particularly in Malam, they're filling it with solid waste, and then they cap it with laterite, and then they sell it
They fill the wetland with solid
with
waste.
solid waste,
And
cap
then-
it with laterite, and then somebody goes and pays for a bought land, and then only to find out when he starts excavating that it's solid waste.
Oh, so let me understand this. So this place is not supposed to be a built area.
No,
Yet
supposed to be left free.
people have permits to build on it.
Whether they have permits or they don't have permits, people are there. We don't know whether they have permits. It's now for us to interrogate.
No, but if they
Because
don't have permit,
if,
no,
if you are to have a permit, there must be a local plan, the basis of which you get your permit.
so great. If they don't have permit,
Yeah.
and yet we are seeing
All of these
buildings
developments,
take over this way, and there's supposed to be a local authority going around to ensure that this doesn't happen, then there's a problem somewhere. Because
Absolutely.
you know,
So it shows
if
that the system has failed.
somebody must be paying for this. Because I'm sure we'll talk about what you're going to do next. Because if we are seeing all this, it cannot be
This is
the
what I
case.
wanted
This
to
is it.
show. This is the state when the solid waste has been brought to the site. In the video that we show you the smaller trucks that are bringing the solid waste to the site. So this image you see clearly is solid waste that is being used to fill. So they'll
I see.
keep on bringing it to fill. Then some so-called landowners will bring in the laterite to cover it. Once they cover it, somebody deems it as land for building, and then they go ahead to put in the developments.
Interesting. So they are filling, this is solid
This
waste.
is solid waste. This is Malam. If you go to Malam today, you see this. If you go to Malam today, you see this.
And
Bishi,
this is the Beshi area.
yes.
This is Teshi, that's going to Teshi,
Exactly.
that Labadi, Teshi area.
So
I see.
the red boundary is what it looked like as at 2012. The white boundary is what is left of it as at 2026.
This is the Beshi area.
Yes.
Does this extend to the Chado area?
Yeah. Some of it goes into the Chado area as well. Yeah.
So the green is just being chopped away.
Exactly.
And-
So there's no room for the water body. In the event of excess runoff, there's no room.
And I saw an advertisement in the Daily Graphic sometime in 20, I
It's
think
5 years, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I've
Yeah.
seen that one. Yeah.
You've
An
seen it.
application for
There's
rezoning
of
the Ramsar site. Yeah.
There's a mangrove.
Yeah, mangrove site, yes,
Mangrove
yes.
site now
That's
being used, or some approval was given for a mixed use of the mangrove. So this is the Chado area.
yeah,
So this is the Chado area,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, part of it is Chado
Pa-
area.
part
This is
of it is-
actually coming to the sea. So the
Absolutely.
Chado is a
So
bit
you
up.
see continuously the green
It's being lost.
this area continuously being lost. People are just chopping up, building
Yeah.
and building, and it's no wonder we saw heavy flooding in Chado. And
I could show
Nitseva.
you more. I mean, there's a
see.
lot to show you.
Interesting.
So we just wanted to do a case study. You see this point here. This part of the core jaw which feeds into the Peshi Lagoon.
Right.
This point. In 2002, the width at this point was 261 meters. The width at this point. Now watch this. In 2013, a little over 10 years later, the width at that same point was
Reduced to
2011. We lost 50 meters of the width.
211.
In 2022, the width had reduced from
211 meters.
211 to 19.
19.
Then the same point. Now, this is where we're having this argument about the development. That at that time, that was part of the width of the river. Now, these developments have caused. Now it's so shrunk that we are left with only 10 meters.
Wow.
10 meters.
The river would have been moving around.
Yes, but at least it would have had the space.
Yes.
It is the space we are losing, which is the critical point.
10 meters.
So from 2002 to 2026, less than a quarter of a century, we've lost almost 100% of the width, virtually 100% of the width.
Wow. That's
There's a lot more to say about this, but let me wrap up quickly.
right.
This is Tessa Dam on the East Legon Boundary Road. You see,
Yes.
if you're on the motorway, you see that it's down there.
There's a dam, that's true.
The red boundary is showing you its state as at 2008. The white boundary is showing its current state. Again, you look at the developments that are filled here. All of these developments that are filled all over the place.
So that dam we see in the East Legon going to Adrigano.
Yeah. That's
The originals, let me say, original
As at
size of it, as at
2008.
2008, was this red
It covered
one.
this. Yes,
But now it's reduced.
Exactly.
Because then people are filling
filling.
to
In fact,
build.
We even have a video where when we're flying the drone, there was a truck that at that material time that we're flying the drone, the truck was discharging laterite.
To fill the
to fill.
wetland.
Yes.
And nobody is being punished for it. You see, the reason why, and I'm trying to point out something because there's a trend we're seeing that you do a periodic comparative
yeah.
analysis. So 2010, 2026, the indiscipline and the illegality is increasing by the years.
Exactly.
That clearly tells you that if wrongdoing goes unpunished, it induces impunity.
Absolutely.
And that is what we are seeing here right now, and which is causing us. The final thing I'm going to find out from you is what you're going to do because clearly we understand the problem. It appears you know what the problem is, having assessed what has been happening over the years. So we need to take the bull by the horn. The lives that have been lost, 34, it must count. What is this?
This is the famous Sakmono Ramsar site. in 2011, the red boundary, the red boundary would show you the extent that it covered. This is 2011.
Wow.
In 2026, this is what is left of it.
Sakumono.
Yes.
That's almost gone. Oh.
Virtually. One could
Look
say,
at that.
but for the Greater Accra Regional Minister, we will not even have what we have here. You know, she came in and started trying
But
to
you see
get
what's
people
interesting
away.
about this Ramsar site? Every year there's demolition.
Yeah.
And then
they come
the
back.
next year they come back
They
and
come
the,
back
the
and-
building is up.
And they extend it even further.
What do you think could be the problem there?
There are primary issues, and then there's, you know, the primary one is that the ways in which we build is a problem. One of my mentors of years back, Steve Akufu, used to say that nobody walks in London looking for land to buy. They're looking for an apartment. In Ghana, the culture, the mentality is, I need my 100 by 100 to establish my home.
Yes.
And so it's forcing the city to extend further and further and further, which is taking up lands that we should normally be preserving. That's the fundamental issue that is driving the pace of urbanization as we have it. Let me give you an example. Ho, up until 4 years ago, would you have ever heard that it flooded in Ho?
No.
There's a hill, they call it the Kabakaba Hill. If you go in the last 4 or 5 years, the speed of development that is happening on that hillside is a contributory factor to what is happening in Ho now. Go to, if you're from Sekondi, there's a place, Butumejebu, is it Butumejebu or something they call it? There's a hillside on your left-hand side again, and it's being cleared. In fact, they started off cutting the laterite, because there's natural laterite there. Cutting laterite, but I've started seeing people also started developing stuff there. So it's the pattern of development that is one of the fundamental things that are in play. That's one of the issues. The other issue, of course, is that the systems that must, how would I call it? The systems that must manage human settlements is not working at pace with people's aspirations for development.
Yeah.
Number 3 is not just the systems, but the capacities at different levels, institutional levels, to be able to manage these processes are not always in tandem with the pace of development. That's why you say that, I mean, you see a foundation in the morning, you see that lintel in the night.
True.
The energy is not having a matching energy when it comes to the supervision, the oversight.
Yes, but it's okay. I understand that. But then again, in as much as buildings will come up very quickly, the local authorities still has the mandate to go around, check the development and what is happening. Dr. Safo, I'm going to have you, take a rest a bit, and let me just put it on record. Dr. Safo is not too well, but he had to come this morning. In fact, I'm impressed that he comes this morning because of how important this particular exercise that we have just done is to finding solutions to the problem of flooding that we're dealt with. I'll start with you, Lawyer Matipebo. With the pictures we've seen, it clearly tells the level of indiscipline. That's number one. And then also people just not living up to their responsibilities. Reason why this has been going on for all this while. Look at what's happening in all these areas that we have just showed you. Let's get to you.
Yeah, so what shall we say? I mean, like in preparation for this morning's debate, I've had opportunity to look at President Kufuor complain about this same indiscipline, throwing refuse into the odor, etc. It didn't start today. Remember even Vice President Aliu Mama, he had a campaign on indiscipline. People throwing rubbish into the odor and other the water bodies, drains, etc. And I'm sure if we dug further, we would see that even in the colonial times, it was there. So as a people, and you remember, so yesterday night, I even sent you a video showing Côte d'Ivoire, La
That's
Côte
true.
d'Ivoire,
As we go on,
where
hold
this is in Abidjan. The water is clean, very clean, and they're showing that, you know, for Ashantis and the other tribes, there are people in Ghana and then the same people in Côte d'Ivoire. So we are like, so what is the problem? So we in Ghana here, we choose to pollute the water bodies with all manner of effluents, right? And then in Côte d'Ivoire, they keep the water clean because this Odo river, I remember those days, I didn't, those days when we went to Legon, the first year, level 100, I read Jog, Kofi, like you in secondary school, and then when I went, so level 100 Jog, I remember Professor Jansen showing that, this Odo River, it could be cleaned up, and then we even have boats on it. You know, I remember those lectures. Yeah, that they will clean the Odo. So you are talking about the...
It was actually at some point a promise.
Yes, 98, 99. So to be cleaned up. So they will put boats on it, etc. You go to many cities around this world, and you see boats in the center of a city on water bodies. At least I've done one in Berlin, where you go to Checkpoint Charlie. Yeah, you see clean water, right? But it's a problem. You just look at it, you're like, it's like everybody wants to just get rich quick. So, all manner of things, I really, it beats my imagination, but we cannot throw our arms in the air. It means that law enforcement must come down hard. Sorry? Yes, law enforcement must come down hard. Otherwise, then the laws have no use. You find people sending emissaries to beg the regional minister, DCs, not to do demolitions. We must do the demolitions because it's insane. It's insane. You don't take reservations.
These are wetlands, Ramsar sites.
Yes.
Taking over dams. Dams are being filled.
Yes.
I mean, how?
Dr. Safo referred to, there's even one, this Tessa Dam, East Legon. So somebody in preparation 4 days ago, I went to East Legon to look at the Tessa Dam. At least that one, I'd seen it years ago, where it had more, the width of the dam was bigger. When we went there, that was on Tuesday, 30th June. Yes, they've started filling, they've been filling it up and selling. So East Legon, where we have the elite sitting, they are sitting down and watching the landowners fill up the Tessa Dam. What kind of attitude is this? So I think, look, we will not just lament and rant here. Look, let the laws work. Look, I remember a few years ago after the floods, there was a promise that all buildings in waterways will be demolished. It went on and on and on, and then after a few months, the conversation died. Then here we are again. So for me, perhaps instead of putting only government appointees, because the president, and we're coming to it, he appointed a committee to look into these drains last year. We don't know what happened. Honorable Bedu, you are here. Parliament raised it a bit. You see, when you put everything in the hands of politicians, that's the problem you get. The politician is always interested in votes. The politician is always interested in votes and will take care of himself first. You know how this morning we started with this thing about 3% payment to members of parliament. It's not their salary. Auditor General doesn't audit their personal account. So you imagine we live in this state where we pay parliamentarians and it cannot be audited. So it tells you many, many examples that if you leave things in the hands of politicians, because of votes, the moment they go and they want to act, it will be like, we'll see the next time you come here for votes. So why can't we agree that let's devolve a lot of the power? Of course, maybe later when we begin to, there's a promise that we'll begin to vote for the MMDCs, etc. We'll see how that will help. But in the interim, maybe next time we are constituting such a committee, we shouldn't make it so politically heavy. You should put in ordinary, put Kofi and Ko who will not need votes, right? Yes. Because
I don't need votes.
Yes, you don't need votes. So look at those that you know that there is no chance on this earth that the person is coming tomorrow to act for any political office.
So, but the politician must rise beyond the threat of votes.
Yes.
If I've built in a waterway, or someone has built in a waterway on a Ramsar site, wetland, dam, filling dams.
Yes.
And so as a result of these floods, Dr. Safo and the committee that has been set up with the military and all hit the ground with bulldozers, pull these buildings down.
Oh, Dr.
No,
Safo is part of the last year's committee.
No, I'm talking about this year. A committee was just
again
inaugurated
another one. So
2 days ago.
Has the old one been decommissioned? What are their reports? You see, you know this type of. Meanwhile, NADMO is there. Ad hoc, knee jerk. I mean, this thing has to stop. That's to stop. Yeah, because the first committee. So have they been disbanded, decommissioned, and then a new one has come? So where are they taking off? Where is NADMO filling in? Yeah, it just. The politics of it, oh no, it's sickening. It's sickening. We can't continue like this. Yeah, sometimes you look at it and, you know, I'm beginning to feel more like the Chinese system, their system of democracy. You see the Chinese, the communist parties, and they take people who have proven themselves in life, and you look at their top echelon, they are engineers, etc. But Ghana, is the one who can convince the people for votes. Look at you see, initially the Americans would tell us, oh, China is not democratic. China, you know, in the early 80s, China was still dependent on America and other countries for aid. 44 years on. Today, see where they are. It's beginning to become more appealing that perhaps we should look to the Chinese model. These are elections that are open to anybody that can, you know, do rabble-rousing, right? Anybody that can convince citizens. So if you have a sweet tongue, not like sweet mouth, like we say, so you can persuade citizens, you get votes. Meanwhile, as a person, you haven't achieved much. You don't have the gravitas to get things done. I think it's a huge problem in our politics. But look at how the Chinese are at the top there. They are engineers. Yeah, they are engineers. So, you know, engineers have a way of thinking. But come to Ghana here, we say, oh, Kabi Mamin Kabi. So everybody can say anything they like. And then, we keep talking and talking. And yeah, the talk is good. It's bringing us some results, but it appears it's slow, especially compared to the way from the early 80s. China was receiving aid. You can check in the early 80s. Today, they are beating America hands down in many areas.
And
many areas.
It fits into.
Can't we copy from China? Change this our model of democracy.
No, Mr. Bento, come. No, Mr. Harte,
changing your model of democracy is not what is going to make you become China. And when you talk about changing model of democracy, I think to say that this voting for people, electing them and putting them in office is not as good as a soldier taking a gun. You shouldn't talk like that. You know better. If your democracy, yes, I'm saying that. No, you see, and I'm saying that one we can't discuss. Hold on. You choose proper. Saying, don't we have engineers in office sometimes?
How many of them are put in?
When you say these things on a platform like this, people take it differently.
No, I'm talking about. I'm looking at results.
Oh, I'm just throwing caution that Martin is not asking for a coup, please. You should just declare.
No, it hasn't gone there. I said their model of democracy.
Oh, I'm just saying.
So we should change.
I'm saying Martin is not.
Oh, but if
I don't. Let me move on. Was that an indication?
No, I'm saying that somebody will misunderstand it and say our democracy.
As for the
because I've seen a lot of that.
Okay, thank you.
Let
me give me one sentence. Let's say it so that the people here. There are memories.
I don't want us to lose sight. I don't want us to lose sight.
That one we can't run away from it.
Doing right now.
No, if that's why I want to, we can say remember about it.
Okay, let's stay focused.
Not that we want it.
Let's stay focused.
Okay, now.
If that's why you are shy.
Please.
So, Doc, thank you for coming in. This is not against you, but I don't think Garrett is going to solve any problem. Because you deal with the problem where it is. So I don't mean it personally, but this is where my problem is. I wish Garrett would focus differently. So Doc said a lot of things. Let me lay this foundation. In Imani, we don't claim expertise in anything. We speak generally as citizens, etc. Okay? But I'm going to break that because on this, I have some expertise. All right? I studied geography all the way and I have a degree. I taught geography and I worked in geographic information systems. I understand these things a bit more than average. And I'm saying these things because I'm going to counter some of the things that Doc has said. He gave many reasons why we have the problems we have, refuse and all those. None of them is the reason. There are two main reasons why we have floods in Accra. One is uncontrolled development and government failure at all levels.
The uncontrolled development is what we see.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
Yeah, I'm saying he gave many reasons. Okay, throwing of refuse, building in.
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay. So we need to get it. That's why I said if we can define the problems well, we know where to go and deal with them. Uncontrolled development and failure of government at every level. He made a point that development is handled at the local level.
True.
Okay, which is to say, you go, you get the land, all right, and then what you build on it is a state function. Okay. They have legal authority to step in, okay? And they fail. When they fail, even at the point, that's why we have an executive presidency, okay? The powers of state are vested in him. All ministers work with and through, he works with and through ministers. Okay, let me give you an example. You see Pambros, he's talking about Pambros. I grew up in Dansoma South Odoko area. Okay, I know that place very well. When we were young, we need to walk around there. It was over 100 hectares squared. It starts from a place called Chaba, okay, which is at the edge of South Odoko, and goes all the way beyond Tetegu. All right? Vast area. Okay? Now, today, at Wager Junction, and I'm saying this because everybody's eyes can see it, they have allowed the chiefs there to build on the stream. There's a stream that flows right by the roadside. Okay? They have filled it up. That's where I'll mention. They built directly on the stream. Okay? Now, Pambros that is there. So, Pambros is a wetland, Ramsar, but there are things that you can do with those places, compatible uses, that's what we call it. Salt winning is one. So Pambros has been winning salt there for 50 years. Okay, salt is edible. When I say the local people can fail, the chiefs can fail, then the district should pick it up. The districts can fail, the sector must pick it up. You have a situation where in Pambros, by the roadside, they have allowed a cement factory to be built next to a salt-producing entity, edible salt. You understand? That, if everybody fails, government, you are seeing it on the wetland. All right? Now, this kind of uncontrolled development is the reason why we're having all these problems everywhere. Why do I call it uncontrolled? You can have development in these areas. Please, because of time, we can't talk plenty, but Google this. How the Dutch tamed the sea. I'm talking about our viewers.
Yeah.
Google how the Dutch, go to YouTube and type in search, how the Dutch tamed the sea. There are plenty videos there, but here's the story. In the Netherlands, when you see all those tulip flowers and whatever, they are below sea level. They are reclaimed from the sea. They built cities on land reclaimed from the sea. It is not wetland, though. They are wetlands, they forget. They were deltas and everything, below sea level. We don't have that problem here. They reclaimed them, they built on them, the cities are viable, they are there today. There is a way to do it. Okay? So even if you want to have development in those areas, there's compatible use, and then if you want to move beyond compatible use to other forms of development, there is a way to do it, it will work. Okay? So for me, when people talk about, oh, we are going to break down houses, it is not a solution. We've been doing that all this time. It's never worked.
But then if you're built in these areas, well, that are not supposed to be built areas, which is then a result, resulting in a problem, we cannot say that you know, we should allow it to be there.
That sounds reasonable. But the point I'm making, and I speak as a technical person,
Yes.
when they build in those areas, they have changed the nature of the space. They've changed the nature of the soil, compacted it. If you break the building down, it sits on the soil they have changed already. All right? Unless you reclaim that place and restore it, it won't soak water anymore. The hills and things that we have compacted, if you build there, compact it, and they break the building down, and the irony is that they break it and then they leave the debris there, you won't solve the problem. Okay? Now, I'm saying all this is because, look, part of the reason, I said the first one was uncontrolled development, government failure at all levels. The second reason is the failure or refusal. We either fail or refuse, okay, to apply technically sound solutions. What I mean is, if you find the problem, like I say, go and break down the building. That is not a technically sound solution. Because that does not, the land has to be spongy. The natural land that is there, that soaks, is spongy. We were just talking about the rivers and that kind of thing. Rivers have their youthful stage in the hills. They have their mature stage when they are coming down, and then they have their old age. Rivers at old age are on flatlands. They create deltas. They move in meanders, and then they deposit. As they deposit, they change. When people come and compact, they constrict them. All right? When they have compacted and constricted it, and you go and break them down, it doesn't release the land to where it was for the rivers to meander and soak.
So beyond the demolition, there has to be a reclamation of
Yes,
the land.
technically sound
and that's what's
solutions.
going to be happening. Yes.
Okay. Now, these two things are the reasons why we have problems. Let me give you a small example. I used to work in enterprise insurance around the 2000s. And that is when we spent about $35 million trying to dredge the Odo. I passed there every day to work because of some of these things. I took some time and studied the thing. And I told my friends, and I've been saying that since then, that this dredging will never work. I'm talking about technically sound solutions. Today, if you dredge Odo, it will silt the next season. Why? Why? Because when a river meets the sea, it will slow down. A river in its mature state, which is where the Odo is meeting the sea, slows down and deposits what is there. As long as there is environmental degradation and silting, and the silt is carried, when the river meets the sea, it will deposit. Now, if you dredge it this year, next year it will fill up. Because there's something called sea level. You cannot change sea level except the polar ices melt. Okay, so when you have a certain sea level situation and the Odo meets there, they will meet at the sea level. Unless you have done what is called, we call it dam, but actually they are locks. Okay, and the sea back, and you get the river, okay, it's a lagoon, to back up and then release it with some force. That silting will never go away. I'm talking about technically sound solutions. I am only a geographer.
Right.
Engineers have to be involved. Hydrologists have to be involved. People who understand these things have to be involved. We've spent, he will tell you, if you add Garrett, there was, when I was younger, something called GEM, Ghana Environmental Resource Management. We spent almost $300 million in the last 20 years. All right?
Okay.
$300 million, and we haven't solved even the silting of Odo. So I'm telling you something. One, we are not serious. Look, Accra naturally floods, again, because of the geography. Okay? In the 60s and things, like I told you when we were young, we used to walk around these flooding areas. In the eastern side, it was a Sakumo. The river that's called Sakumo. It's a locality that is called Sakumono.
Yes.
That is on top of the Sakumo. People walk around there and fish there. If you come somewhere in the middle, you have the Kole and Co. If you go to the western side, you have Densu, you have all those other things. They are there. They flood every year. But in those days when people hadn't built in them, it wasn't a problem. When the hills and Co. were the way they were, it wasn't a problem. So that's a natural thing that will happen. Now, it is not impossible to change the nature of the land because populations will grow, people will build. But immediately you choose to do that, if you are doing it with technically sound arrangements, you know that when I do this, then I have to do this. Okay? So please, what we need to do is to, one, get these things, they don't lend themselves to quick solution. Get people who know what they are doing. And if Gary will succeed, it has to succeed by going back and making sure that the failure of government on the different levels is dealt with. Government people can't sit in ministries and say that it's the local people who have sold the land, so we can't do anything about it. When the flood comes and people die, the president will have to go into a helicopter and people have to go and walk through mud. Every president in my lifetime has walked through mud. We sat here in this country, Jerry Rawlings descended in gutters and was shoveling gutters. Jerry Rawlings, the president. And I remember at the time I said, this is not the solution. The solution is to sack the person who has to do that. Okay? We saw our president now on a helicopter. Dr. Bawumia was walking through the mud. They have done that every time. It will never solve the problem. Baby, I teach you. Put technical people in the room, have a 5-year plan, let them come up with ideas, and let's face this. No one government will solve this problem.
But you see, the challenge is that I, over the years, have sat in conversations where there are same technical people who have come up with same long-term, medium to long-term plans. The matter is not about the absence of thinking or the capacity to do this technically. It is the discipline to adhere to the effective implementation of the plans and measures.
Yes and no.
That those technical people you're talking about.
Yes and no.
I tell you what, when we search, we will find.
Yes and no.
Technical people who have made proposals.
Yes and no.
As to how this can be solved.
So some technical people make proposals, that kind of thing, and then you have a leaders making some decisions, that kind of thing, and whether we want to do it or not. Where I have a problem, and I use the Odo River thing, Some technical people agree that we had to dredge it. It was a technical decision. And we brought dredge masters. Okay, later on we went to Zoom Lion and put those toys on the thing. Okay, that technical intervention was not sound. And I've explained it to you, that it is not possible to dredge the Odo at the place where it meets the sea. Okay, because you can't stop the sea as long as the silt is in it. So some things don't lend themselves to quick solution. Sometimes we like people to take some action for us to. There is action that is not progress. Not every action must be, misconstrued as progress. And sometimes our leaders want to be seen to be doing something. Half of it is why they like breaking things down. And let me make this point too. Do you realize that when these things happen, you don't see district chief executives at play? You see MPs and you see ministers and co running around. It is not their job.
It's the DCE.
It is the DCE who is failing. It is he who has to do it. You know why they don't do that? Because there's no reason for them to do it. Nobody elects them. So I'm saying the technical thing, you see, sometimes the technical people, some of us, we have some meetings and things, we talk about some of this, people agree with it. So when you go, they won't mind you. Because sitting down to have a 5-year program, which will go beyond this government, they want to do something. So they'll go and put machines on Odo and try to dredge it. They'll break down some buildings at the Ramsar site and leave the thing there because they want to be seen to be doing something. We all have to come to a point as a country to appreciate that when you have caused problems over 50 years, it will not take 4 years to solve it. And if you're going to solve it, look at how long and how much work went into creating the problem. It will take that much work to reverse it. Okay? So please, and I'm happy you are here. Maybe this is what you should feed back to them. We should sit down, have a phased approach to dealing with this. Otherwise, figure out how we can survive in these conditions.
So, Mr. Beto, thank you. But there's some considerations to the phased approach. And let me just put on record, Engineer Abdullah Mahama, a structural engineer, is also going to be joining us. He talked about the role of engineers in dealing with this. So he'll join the conversation in a bit. But after understanding the magnitude of the problem, because what you have shown us this morning is some work that you have done. I mean, quite extensive, giving us the periodic analysis over the years, 16-year gap, sometimes 20 years over the period, what these wetlands, dams, Ramsar sites have become. What's the thinking, to address this problem, that this place is supposed to be green, but yet we see buildings filled in there? Certainly, they would have to come down. I mean, Mr. Bento, from the understanding I get, is not so much against the
It's for the restoration of the function,
the
wetland
demolition of the buildings alone.
Yeah.
Certainly, if we are solving the problem, the buildings will have to go.
Yes. But
That you are not disputing.
yes.
But it's not enough. It should not end there.
Exactly.
What's the thinking?
No, so largely some of the points that Kofi have raised, I agree with you. And coming from my background also as a planner, I agree with you on largely some of the things. So what should be done going forward is to not look at the treatment of our water body. I don't want to restrict myself to just to the Odo, because Accra, for example, is served by 9 major basins. Chemu, West Chemu, and then Songo, and then Songo, and all of them. They are major basins. They are, some of them stretching 30, 40 kilometers. So what we have to look at is have a systemic viewpoint. How do we address this important function of draining the cities vis-a-vis how we build our cities, how we grow? Because up to this point, our cities are growing organically.
Yes.
They are not conforming to plan.
No plan. Just
And unfortunately, the first tier of the state's power, which is the assembly level, one could say has significant capacity issues. For example, if you take all of the 261 assemblies, hydrological engineering capacity is almost zero.
wow.
So they have to be served by Ghana Hydro Authority, which is a centralized state agency. Ask me, how many hydrological engineers are at Hydro to serve 261 jurisdictions? Take Tech. You've seen what happened on the Wiwi stream that flooded and all of those places. That is one assembly. Then you take the Sisine stream. You take 7 Abuabo, and all of those places.
Yeah.
You'd go to the Kumasi office of the regional office of Hydro, and they don't have more than 5 staff, of which some are administrators. So assume that every assembly is doing their plans, and they need a hydrological engineer to come and help them to do their plans. 3, 4 engineers serving. Kumasi has 30-something districts.
So, to cut you see, so that's what I mean when I say failure of government at every
Absolutely.
level. No assembly or these small assemblies cannot support a hydrological engineer. It's a specialized area of engineering. So at that level, you have to have that person at the top and let the person feed all assemblies in one area. Why is that not possible? We are training them. Why are we not using them?
So then you come to, okay, so at that, the centralized one, how many are available to provide the support?
Again,
so then,
why are they not available?
So then it's a matter of looking, that's what I'm saying, you have to look at it from a systemic point of view. Because if you look in isolation, you may solve a culvert problem, but you not have solved a flooding problem. Maybe it's just one culvert you think is a bottleneck. You go there, but what about upstream? What about downstream? What about other things that are more or less changing the directions, charging, water has force. Some constrictions give it energy to charge it towards, some further. All of those things need to be looked at with a very broad overview. Then you can also talk about the coordination. Take urban roads, take hydro. Urban roads are looking at just the transportation corridor. So when they meet a water body, they just design something that is enough to cover that gap so that they can cross over. But in hydrology, you always have to look for redundancies. You have to create extra room because you never know the flow volumes that are coming.
Sure.
So if you just look at currently the stream is 2 meter wide, so I'll do a 3 meter box culvert. And meanwhile, years to come, the flows are going to be such that you would have needed, say, 10 meter coverage or 10 meter width. Then you would see that the conflict between the road engineering and then the hydrological engineering is at play.
True.
So coordination is a problem. And we've spoken about it forever, that coordination across public sector agencies needs to be looked at. Because even within, let's say if you take the assembly, even within the assembly, where they have the municipal planning coordinating committees, you will still have works engineer doing something that perhaps the roads engineer may not even be aware of. You have the environmental health officer doing something. So coordination at all levels is critical. It's a soft ingredient, but it is very critical for a coherent effort at trying to address some of these things.
The coordination bit, because I remember you mentioned this, the lack of capacity to address the rate at which development is taking place across the country and especially in the Greater Accra region, with respect to you, Nadmo, because before the disaster happens, all of this would have taken place. People would have built on wetlands, Ramsar sites, waterways, dams. We're even filling dams now. I mean, then the disaster happens and you have to now deal with it, right? So that's a challenge as well that you highlighted. How's NADMO also contributing to addressing the problem? Talking about solution orientation now.
Yeah, that's what we work with the assemblies for them to identify the impediments to the flow. And then we work with them to remove them and then try to open up the channels, drainage channels, so that they could carry a lot more water. That's why we started a project at the Peshi where we are trying to recover the lagoon fully so that it can continue to serve as a flood buffer. But then, like you said from the beginning, when you remove the structure and you don't clear the filling, then work done is zero. Because most of them, before they put up the structure, that ground is elevated from its low-lying state. So you need to remove the filling for it to be low-lying again so that from the community, it can flow into the Peshi. We have started that, but then we need a lot of funding. All the issues come down to funding.
I mean, respectfully, this is not NADMO's job.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's why.
So if it's funding to go and build those things, we are in the wrong place.
Not building, working with assemblies to open up the draining
That's
channels.
engineering.
Yeah.
You
And
see-
it's a lot of, it's all funding issues. I mean, yeah. When there's adequate funding, I'm sure our engineers know what to do and they are ready to do it. But what does it take to do what you have to do? That's mostly inadequate. And
Most important thing is that the rains are still going to come. So what is NADMO going to be doing?
yeah, we'll continue to sensitize communities on the do's and don'ts, so that all they need to is to be alive for us. So we'll continue to sensitize communities. Before the rains come, you have to prepare. When it starts and the flood starts coming, we sensitize you on how to survive. And then post the flooding, you recover.
Do you have your people at the assembly level?
We have
NADMO
staff across
staff.
the country in all MMDAs.
I'm asking this because have they ever raised any red flags to you regarding this indiscipline? What's happening here? This illegality of people taking over waterways and wetlands and Ramsar sites. Even before the disaster happened, do they flag it to you?
Yeah, sometimes, like the exercises that have been going on, is because of some of these things that have been identified by our staff in the municipalities and then working with the assemblies. That's why we are supporting, because it will come back to us. That is why we are supporting assemblies to remove all those structures and also trying to reclaim and recover the water bodies so that we'll all be free from flooding.
Samuyate, thank you very much for coming. He's going to take a leave of us. Engineer Abdullah Mahama is joining us right now. Structural engineer is going to be joining us. Council, Lawyer Bernard Bediako, quickly on this. With what we have seen clearly, this cannot continue. I mean, there's so far those who just have had their take on this, some consensus that some action needs to be taken. How it has to be done is where the conversation is going right now. That if we're going to demolish, which from the understanding I get, it has to be one of the first things to be done to pave the way for anything else that will take place. Beyond the demolition, what next? And I first of all want us to speak about this, what we are seeing here, what we have run through, all of this, what is happening now.
Brother, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's obvious the problems are known. You see, we can spend the whole day talking about the problem. It is known. We all know what the issues are. And the aspect we have today has enlightened us, giving us some data of what has been done to our environment. Very devastating. It's unfortunate. And I keep saying that, you see, we do not want to accept that we are a country of talkatives. We do not want to accept that. You see, because the point has to be made that all the experts we have are able to tell us what the situation is. And you see, the reason I have a problem with some of the narratives sometimes we hear is this. Look, as Senior Bento said, and I'm a bit surprised today, his position, maybe not exhaustive, and I wish he had an opportunity to elaborate more. For him to say that our challenges, the main reasons for flooding has nothing to do beyond what he claims to be government failing at all levels. You see, if it is misunderstood, it will mean you politicizing this. Because at the end of the day, I've heard you on just a few weeks ago, I heard you say that the problem is in discipline. I heard you say this. No, you never said, and you even mentioned that chiefs are selling lands in waterways and all that. You said it. You never attributed it to government. But so if it is not exhaustive, and that what you said complements others, then you should be given the opportunity to mention the others. But today, yes. But you see, today, if you say that it is all government, it is not true. It is not true. The problem actually is in discipline, and you've said it before, I heard you. So today, don't just reduce the thing to government. That's our problem. And then the perpetrators walk free. They do all kinds of things as though, look, the engineers we have, they are apolitical. In every assembly, they have engineers. They have town spatial, what's the name now? Town planning, now spatial, whatever. They are supposed to act. We have them, the laws. I mean, the planning regulations. We have several of them. Who is supposed to enforce it? I personally think that it shouldn't even get to the highest level. It shouldn't take the presidency to put up a committee. I do not even see where the presidency comes in at all, if we are to. That's our main problem. We don't enforce our laws. There are so many regulations, and let us not, as usual, dump this at the doorstep of the politician. There are people who are paid. Nobody, look, let them come and tell us that this politician told me not to do A, B, C, D. Then we will call them out. True. But to take this excuse, that's our problem. We have that problem with Galamsey, and I know how passionate you are about this. Everybody is running away from the problem. And because we are endangered species, they put every blame on us as politicians, that these people are not allowing me. You have been given if you cannot work, resign. Because it's your duty to make sure that the right thing is done. How many of the politicians, look, even the permit, you know it is not the DCE that signs the permit. So, where are the people? We always don't want to talk about...
So who signs the permit?
No, the assembly, they're coordinated, there is a committee. If you want to, there is a committee.
Who appoints the DCE?
No, it's not, no, you see...
There's a principle of ultimate responsibility.
No, you put party apparatchik, people who haven't made it in life. All manner of people are
you see,
since you told me, look. When I talk about the discipline,
I'll come to it. Yes.
So you see, what I'm saying is that when it gets to this point, personally, I think that we should mention the officers or the people. Look, every assembly has all these people. The laws are there. Make sure people don't build on waterways. This committee we are talking, how many are there? And the problem in Central Region, how many of them would represent or would work in the Central Region, in the Volta region? I thought that they are going to, I mean, their main mandate is going to be coordination, to prescribe what needs to be done and what should not be done. But at the end of the day, as we speak, there is a challenge we need to resolve. But people are still doing the wrong things. They are compounding the problems. And we have people who are at the local levels who are supposed to do them. So I think that when it gets to this point, let us find out where such indiscipline is happening. Call the engineer there. You leave the politician, leave the DC. Call the engineer there. Find out what he is doing about it. Let him then come and tell you that it is this DC who said I shouldn't do it. It is this regional minister who said I shouldn't.
And he can keep his job. Oh, please.
No, but no. But you see,
which engineer?
But we cannot also because we also hear things they also do. But then we always try to chill them. We try not to mention their names and lay the blame.
Because you put them there.
No, but if he wants to, if he says he's genuine and he's not doing the wrong thing, he can do the right thing. He should proceed
and you take him to some places
no,
we don't
you
want
see,
to
so
mention.
For me, we know the problems.
Please.
We know the problems.
Don't exclude it. Maybe you can say it's not as big as this, but to exclude it and say pointing fingers to the other.
Please.
But you know, myself and you as lawyers, until they come to tell us, we hear things sometimes that ends up not to be true. At the end of the day, people also, I'm down there, I also know what happens there. I speak to DCs and they tell me some of the structures, they know nothing about it. But I'm saying that, you see, so let's call out who is directly responsible. He should then come and tell us what made him not act.
Principle of ultimate
No, the ultimate responsibility, I agree. But at the end of the day, before you talk about the ultimate responsibility, these are people who are not beyond rebuke. We can also call them out because the problem, if it is engineering, we have engineers. If it is about the enforcement of the laws, we have people who have been put in charge of enforcing the laws. Otherwise, then let's get them out and then use politicians all through. I'm saying, no, I'm saying we are paying people. They have to work. Let us not continue the path we are. Otherwise, the problem will never get solved. You are saying, and you agree with me, the way our DCs are appointed, some may not even have any expertise in there. But there are experts there. So call them down. Call them out. Let them do the right thing. Not you as a person, but I'm saying as a society, as Ghanaians. And so the discussion has always been about politicians and then the people who are supposed to do or to ensure that the right thing is done go. But you see, beyond all this, I am saying that because of ultimate responsibility, the government would also have to act. And I am aware that there are going to be some stringent measures to even appointees and then the people who the committee and all that. Look, the challenge we have as a people, at the end of the day, we need to pick whatever we think is good for us. If we think that we should proceed with, because when it happened, how many politicians were affected? How many politicians were affected? So we contribute to this and we get affected. And now people have lost a lot. People are not able to even find homes. The government is doing his best, of course, has released over 350 billion Ghana cedis to help these victims at least find some respite in their livelihoods. But it may not be enough. We pray that if there are also some private entities who may come to their aid, they should come and do it. But that is just a reactionary measure. At the end of the day, if we want to be ruthless, we want to enforce discipline, we have to go all out. And this is not politics. And I do not subscribe to, arguing on political lines. If somebody wants to do it, fine. Because you see, over the years, President Akufo-Addo's era, there were flats. President Mohammed's era, there are flats. Even President Kufuor, President Rollins. And so if you want to politicize, it's your own matter. People may try to.
Even gone on the politics.
We've gone past that stage.
This morning
we haven't. Yeah, no, I'm not speaking just about what is happening this morning. Generally, we've had a lot. Because you see, I don't want us to go there, but maybe I would want to hear my brother on this.
The reason why I wouldn't want us to go there is because of how we started this conversation. If we go on that path, it's not going to help anyone.
No, but so far, no politician has spoken.
Exactly.
Do you understand the point I'm also making?
I get the point.
The people that have spoken are not politicians, so to speak.
And so
he is.
That's the focus
so I get you. So I hope we don't go that path because it would not help.
In the end, the people who are watching, the most important thing is people finding the solution to the problems that we're faced with. People have died.
Yes.
Those people are not alive to witness the politics of things.
Yes.
When we major the minors and minor the majors in some instances.
I agree with you. And that's why I'm saying that we have a problem of enforcement. Mm-hmm. It is a problem, an age-long problem. And because if we keep saying that because of politicians, the technocrats cannot work, then we are as good as not doing anything at all. Because the politicians will not be the people to enforce the laws. How many of them? But if the people who have been appointed, have been recruited to work, are able to do what they are supposed to do, then we can go far. We know the problem. All we've heard this morning is about the problem. The action to take, of course, we are talking about demolition. Who is supposed to do this? And then education. I think the other issue is with education. Truly, there are some people who are not educated enough to understand a few things. Look, if we need, when I say educated, not as in, but to be informed, to know that this is a no-go area. Okay. We shouldn't do this here, we shouldn't do that here. I think this is something that NADMO, he is left, but I think they have to be able to. And then the final thing I would like to say is this. Look, if NADMO or we've heard this thing about funding. Look, enforcement of the law, for me, it's not so difficult a thing that requires so much funding. Because you don't need so much. You've been appointed to ensure that this does not happen. I do not know what you need. If it is about the engineering problems, if it is about demolition and all that, you need the funding. But enforcement of the law, because as we speak, people are still building in waterways. People are still doing unthinkable. People are doing things they are not supposed to do. And whose duty is it to ensure that they are not done. You don't need funding to do this. That's also a lame excuse.
Okay, thank you. Well, some 8 minutes to the top of the hour. Let me acknowledge the presence of Engineer Abdullahi Mahama. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, it's a pleasure, and good morning to my co-panelists on the platform.
Perfect. And please hold on to that point you wanted to make. I want to go to Haruna Mohammed on this because, see, a number of things established here that in the principle of ultimate responsibility, ensuring that the people who have to take responsibility for what is happening over the years, and this, if you look at this, the span or the period that this has been happening, it spans regimes, and it is happening. We continue to lose areas that are supposed to serve as buffers for the problem or the challenge we are still talking about, which has been a perennial affair. Every year, people lose lives, their lives or property. And then we come back here, talk about the same thing. What has to change? What has to be done differently this time around with 34 people dying? Hold on.
Thank you very much, Okansi. First, I would like to say a very commend the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party for the initiative that he has taken after the devastating flood that has happened to the good people of Ghana. If you listen to him very carefully and listen to other politicians, when flood had happened, the tone and the manner in which it is said and the actions that follows that are different. This was very patriotic. This was very inclusive. And I want to commend His Excellency, the former Vice President, and the flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party. A number of discussions has gone on this particular table with respect to these flooding situations in Ghana. And I've heard from the experts. The doctor has given the problems, given us a lot of issues, pictorial views, and also bringing to forth a number of things that we as politicians and technocrats have not much looked at in terms of how we are able to address some of these particular situations.
Absolutely.
I think that there is that good intentions that we should be able to look at them and see how we'll be able to address them. And we must address them with purpose. We must address them with the concrete measures. We must not be paying lip service to them. We must not also just temporarily take up things that we need to do, that thinking that is going to solve the problems. We must take concrete measures that is going to solve. And also what I would like to tell Ghanaian citizens is that areas that are demarcated for water bodies to take shape, we need to advise ourselves not to occupy those particular areas, because when floods happen, it will affect you, and the technocrat or the person who gave you the permit to build at that particular place will be in the house. And I think that these are some of the things that we need to remind the people. We need to be disciplined. And I like the situation or the manner in which the discussion has gone, remembering far back as His Excellency Alhaji Aliyu Mahama, his call for us to fight against indiscipline. And I agree entirely that indiscipline is part of the measures that is affecting us in these particular circumstances. But what my brother has failed to understand is that the indiscipline matter that has been explained by other members on this panel does not only point to one factor. One, recklessness is part of indiscipline. Recklessness is part of indiscipline. Dishonesty is part of indiscipline. And also lack of commitment is part of indiscipline. We're all in this country. He was talking about us not to politicize it. Yes, that is good. We should not politicize. But when he was in opposition, what did he say about floods when it happened? I heard him talk about engineering issue. If there are engineering issues, we should refer it to the engineers and other bodies that is going to deal with that. But the current president, when he was campaigning for power, told us that it's not an engineering issue. Today, when he went there, what did he say? He said it's an engineering issue. what I've always observed the president is that he's always inconsistent in his own inconsistency. And the president is consistent in his inconsistency. So he does not take the bull by his horns. And I'm not surprised because he wrote his own book, My First Coup d'etat. And he said in that particular book that as a young man riding bicycle down the lane, he could not take a decision on his own. And as a result of that, his first term as president in office has to appoint 3 wise men to advise him. And he could not succeed. And in the second term of his office, we're still having this. This is the largest in terms of flood devastation. No, please.
Okay.
Let me have this conversation done. Because it's part of the indiscipline. I have spoken to the technical issue. It's part of the indiscipline.
Okay.
You see, you cannot be reckless and want to be a pope when you are in government. The president did not speak well in opposition. We must call him out. Indeed, the entire NDC was reckless. They are in government and they are dishonest. And we must point it to them. And that is exactly who they are. You cannot come and collapse ministries and separate them. And there is no proper coordination. You put a deputy chief of staff who absolutely has no power to coordinate. And there is that disintegration as to who to report to. Even the Minister of Interior is not involved in this particular situation. Where these particular bodies that are working, NADMO and what have you, they report to him, he is not part of the coordinating facility. What are we taking this country for? Look, a single life that is lost in this country is as important as any other life. This thing happened on the 29th. On the next day, the president was thanking God in white. Please, let us be serious. Let us be very serious in this country.
So what was the linkage between that and the flood? What happened?
The flood. People died. So
Yes,
for you, if you have a program and people die, could the president have thanked God when the 8 people died in the helicopter?
No, so
would he have done that? Please.
No, there was a national Thanksgiving service.
People have lost their lives. People lost their livelihood. People are still struggling as to where to sleep. You must be compassionate. You must be a reflection of the people. You must feel in that particular space. You must give them the confidence. You must tell them that you belong to them. That Thanksgiving could have been cancelled. You don't thank God or you don't go to celebrate and dance when people have lost their lives, people have lost their livelihood, people cannot get a place to stay. Ghana is still mourning when indeed over hundreds of people died under his tenure in the same flood situation. And today we are getting 34. We are still getting reports from that. So I think that we can tackle the engineering issues, but politicians must be honest and stop having reckless commentary.
Well, Engineer Mahama, you see, you haven't seen this over the years. And in fact, there's a statement in an interview we had about 5 years ago. You referenced this Ebri situation, which Dr. Safo talked about. So what we are seeing now, you predicted way ahead of time. And unfortunately, there's a failure that has led to this. And Dr. Safo, Kofi Bento have run through those various different levels of failure. Now, there has to be action taken to address the mistake that has been committed as a result of inaction. What has to be done?
Well, I say good morning to your cherished viewers. Sorry. I wanted to find out from the lawyers, sorry, the streams and rivers that we have dotted in constituencies or districts, are they owned by the local chiefs where they can determine how to fill the lands for reuse? Like the one at East Legon, for instance, you are talking about, you were there, and then now it's being filled. I want to ask those questions before. I want to know from the law whether
chiefs,
they can fill the land.
etc., own the land. But land use is a state responsibility. The state zones, the state gives permits, the state can determine even what material you use to build where, and even what you build. The state can tell you this is for offices, this is for recreation, this is for this. So ownership is not the same as the right to determine usage.
Yes, I was asking because I think there may be some laws under the EPA as well and these river bodies that, at least within the country, rivers are not no-go area. So when we see chiefs who are filling the rivers, you see, they do that first and foremost. Before they sell, and then now the developers now go to the assembly to go and look for
that's what I'm saying.
the processes.
Anyway.
So I have lived what Dr. Safo said, because I think I was part of those who constructed the Pantine, Oyarefa, Ayimensan, Peduase, Kitasi, Jankama, all the way to Manfe roundabout, 2003 to 2007.
Constructed that road?
That road.
Through the mountain?
Yes. So that was my first road after school. And so I appreciate or understand the sort of development that has gone.
So this road? This road?
That's right.
This one?
Yes, through the escarpment. Okay. And I remember when we were doing from Ayimensan kilometer 19 plus 700 to 23, just in front of the Peduase Lodge, our presidential, we gave an explicit instruction or directive to government that after we have blasted the rocks to expand the road, we needed to do some measures to be able to sustain or to hold that. We gave a lot of methods for government to undertake such, I don't know what it's called, defensive way to make sure that the land stabilize the place.
The soil.
Unfortunately, from 2007 to 2011, we started seeing that some of the debris were coming down. I mean, the shales were coming down from the second curve.
Yeah.
I was there last week, exactly 2 weeks ago, on my way to the airport, and I stopped at the first curve when I from Ayimensan ago, the first 10. So that goes to the assembly. These billboards, in fact, they had their foundation right under the biggest culvert I constructed on the road, sitting in the center of the culvert. So what it means that when the debris are coming or the grass are coming, they just have a place to stop. Then there'll be a backflow right from Ayimensan. So this area, in fact, we have a lot of things to do there. Now, when we're doing this road, the right-hand side of Oyarefa, you can just count about maybe 10, 11 houses in 2007 and 2004. So you can just imagine what Doc is saying in that section.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to make this clear. The Oyarefa right towards the basins on the left. Doc, I'm sure you can have a document from the Auditor General in 2021 where they were expert in saying that we have 18 retention ponds dotted in Accra, and none of them has been constructed, or none of them have been preserved. What it means is that you may have garage project being expanded to whatever form. You need to have the natural buffers to augment the capacity of the storm drains. Now, Kofi, you're saying the Odo, the silting is not the solution. It is partly and not partly. I remember in 2017, I said that we are sinking money down the drain, one of your sister stations. What I meant was that you can't just be doing the silting and you don't extend from Abofu Enclave towards Achimota, Christian Village, through to Atomic and to the mountain. So you have to start gradually. Okay, I'm doing half the silting this year, but I will expand the line drains because the massive encroachment at the top of the left-hand side, that feed directly to the Odo, is from that side.
All the way down.
From Christian Village, Abofu, and there. And I sustained this for like 9 years before I saw the collapsed slabs just around Achimota, Abofu, and to be reconstructed.
Because if we don't desilt or dredge the Odo, that also creates another
because
problem.
Because the Odo
right?
has some, you see, you only see the refuse, the rubber floating, but the 80% of that in 2017-18 was a silt. So you have drastically reduced the capacity of the Odo. Yes. So much as you try to be desilting, you need to be expanding and consciously go to the top there, Ajimenti, Brekusu, Abokubi, Oyarefa, to consciously tell those who are developing those estates, those who are doing these warehouses or this apartment, to have a nice way of grassing those areas. Because you can't be doing the desilting in Accra, and these are individuals who are at the top there. Understand? So we need to address that one. And I think in Doctor's submission about the culverts that are constructed across the country. Okay, let me say, I speak for mostly, I do a lot of highway construction and designs. Right. We do not just look at the capacity of the culvert for that particular time and we just size, maybe add some small factor of safety to it. In fact, we pick the data from Meteo, we pick the data from the hydro, we pick the catchment area of the land adjoining the road that you are going to construct, and you design for a 25 and a 50 design. So you capture the expansion or the extent of volume you expect to come through that culvert in the 25, 50 years. So we don't just design the culvert to just be captured for just like a year or 5 years. So that's the extent. Like we see the construction of some of the highways being constructed now. That's what goes into it. The hydro comes into play. The Metro's forecast is given to the engineer. They go behind, let's say 10 years before, and then the 10 years and project before they come out with the determination of those culverts that we see across. And the wetlands, I want to just be throwing questions to you, Alfred. Most of the wetlands, have you seen the kind of huge expansion of buildings that are sitting on the wetlands?
Yes.
Look at all our malls, because you said we should call it spade. We want to be very brutal with the issue. Look at the few warehouses and malls that are springing up across the country. Almost all of them are sitting in wetlands. Some of the state facilities that are constructed, like the refinery in Tema, find out who are those who sanctioned the approval, the permit for it to be sited there. It doesn't come from the local assembly. I think Kofi was saying something. When it becomes a national asset, it transcends beyond the local assembly because it becomes a national edifice. So it might be, let's say, directly under the Ministry of Energy, even though the assembly is the one who's supposed to kickstart the process. But some of them are circumvented.
And the DCs signed the permit.
Yes.
Honorable Bedu, did you say they don't say?
So
the DCs signed the permit. They signed.
So
they signed the
when it
permit.
comes to the permit issue, we have the chairman, or the chairperson, who happens to be the DC, or the coordinating director in his absence. We have the engineer. Let's put this in context. The engineers at assembly, they are experienced BT students. If we talk of civil engineers, we don't have them at the assemblies.
We don't have civil engineers at the
assemblies. We may have less than 10 at the metropolitan.
Okay. Just a quick response to that. Yes, Dr. Safo, you're saying there are civil engineers at the assembly?
There are some assemblies where they have local government service from time to time will invite applications for people wanting to work in the local governments. And indeed, they have a civil engineering corps. If you look at the local government staffing norms, which provides the qualifications, the numbers that are needed for different functions, you see that there's also requirements for civil engineers. The only thing is that civil engineers don't often apply for that. Okay. There are very few who actually go to work in that sector. Civil engineers and architects, those are the professional areas where you see not what the schools produce, not a lot go towards the local government. Right. So the gap is then filled by, as you're saying, the construction technicians, the building technologists, and all those other people who have some level of engineering training, but they don't have full engineering qualification. That's the clarification I wanted to.
So, but that's what I was just trying to put across that. We have some of the bigger assemblies, let me say the metropolitans. When you walk to those, you find some of them there. But almost all the assemblies I'm talking about that have contact with, not that they are not working, but I'm saying that for you to have an engineer, civil engineer or hydro engineer at the assembly is not necessary.
So the problem with what we are seeing now starts at the assembly level. I think that's not.
So in this case, you see this case,
assembly level.
You see this case, this one for instance. I expect even before we continue to do the demolitions and other things, when we have this data coming from Doctor, it has to be given to the local assemblies with the coordinates. I have some engineers the physical planning officer, who at the assemblies, when they receive or they request for document from the Ghana Health Authority, and they are given the document like the right of way, then it becomes one of the reasons why they can't issue permit to any developer who comes to the assembly to request for a permit. So when this data is circulated to the various assemblies that are dotted within this area, then you can say that the guy just shine on because if you have this document, it means the assembly will now have to go and plot whenever you bring your site plan. And then when they plot and they fall within this red zone,
you are not allowed to.
Then you are not allowed to.
And whose duty is it?
The assembly, the DCE. Yeah. And the DCE works under somebody.
But you see,
the DCE is appointed by the president.
This is at the higher level, where a committee is tasked to do this, undertake the assignment. When this is done, it has to dissipate down to the assembly. So this has become a document which is supposed to give to all the assemblies that fall within these areas. And so when you are seen to have allowed a building to be sited there, then you can be held responsible.
I see. That's
because the person
at
may
the
not
local
have,
level.
Yes.
I think it's the ultimate responsibility approach that there's that differing position.
It is
between
not a
you and-
difficult thing.
But then again, so that before we begin to point fingers at the central government, the local authority must
that's what
not
the problem is.
escape culpability.
Yes,
as well.
but Alfred,
So-
please, let's settle this one. You see,
in one
Galamsey. Galamsey happens in districts. All right? We sit here. The last time was Bosomchi. There's a district chief executive there. People take excavators and drive it into the bush. The district chief executive doesn't do the job. At the end of the day, the president has a problem because the president appoints that person. The principle of ultimate responsibility is very simple. If the person who appointed the person is not going to act, then me, if I complain, I can complain forever. He won't mind me because the appointing person is not taking care of the issue. Let me make this point. I made the point. I said, do you realize that when the president is going around and co, it is Kandowe was with him in the helicopter, one or two people. I haven't seen DCEs. When the politicians are going around, when Dr. Baumia was going around, you don't see DCEs. You see MPs because they're elected. Why? The DCE knows that it's the president who appoints him. You can scream till the cows come home. You can't do anything about it. I have said, and I repeat, until we start sacking DCEs for Galamsey, Galamsey will never end. And until we start sacking DCEs for these things, it will never end. Who has to sack the DCE?
Right. Lawyer Bedu,
You see-
Bedu, just quickly on this
Please,
particular point.
please. You see, I cautioned that
No,
we
I wanted
should
you
not.
to
It's
respond to-
please. I want to rather
Yes.
respond to him.
So no,
please
if you're
bear
going
with
to
me.
do
Bear with
that,
me.
then
You
I'll
give me the opportunity.
No
I'll
problem.
come
You
to
see-
no. If you're going to do that, I'll come because I thought it was on this part, but I'll come to you on that.
Oh, as for
Yeah, okay.
what because
So
because he
let's-
said for him, I heard him say that the problem is in discipline. Today he is saying it's government. I just wanted to point out.
All right.
You said that there is no other. In fact, the challenges.
The two
I'm not
work
referring
together.
to you. You join him
It's
now.
in discipline at every level. That's
Thank
what
you
I said.
very much. Thank you.
You said government.
Yes.
You never said. You said the chiefs.
No,
are
Thank you,
telling-
gentlemen.
Today I
Thank you.
said
Thank you.
the-
But
Thank you.
before you
Thank
said something
Thank you.
else. That's what
Thank
I
you very
you don't
much.
understand what
Thank
I
you.
said.
There are
I
a number of
have
questions.
everything you said.
It's a universal
I
saying.
have everything.
Thank you very
said.
much.
In
I have-
discipline, it's a
Dr.
universal saying.
Discipline is important.
Anybody at
Dr.
all
Safo
can
has to
fit
leave
into
us.
it.
There's a few questions for him. Dr. Kwame Asante says, good morning. I want to find out from Dr. Safo if there are short to medium term proposals to the excellent presentation that he has made this morning. It clearly has brought a different dimension of knowledge and understanding of the contributive factors to the flooding as we have it now. It says, good work done. Dr. Safo. So, just a quick one.
No, okay.
After this,
Yeah.
understanding the problem as we have it, what's the way forward?
I mean, the way forward is to begin to start the engineering. Correct. There are some things that you have to correct them by engineering, and those are things that must be done immediately. Let me give you an example.
Right.
There are a number of culverts relative to the size of the drains that the culverts are bottlenecks. Those bottlenecks need to be changed immediately. I'll give you an example. The railway crossing at Odona is one of the biggest contributions to the overtopping at Odona because it crosses the Odo. The railway sizing, it creates more or less like an embankment. At a certain point, when the water levels are rising, they push against the embankment and they spill over into the community. That must be changed. And there are so many across. I don't want to limit it to just Accra and Odo. Across the country, it is important for, let's say, Hydro together with the assemblies to start auditing those kinds of bottlenecks for immediate. There are some bridges that have piers. The piers are sitting in the middle of drains, large storm drains. Because of our solid waste challenge, when the runoff is moving and they get to the pier, they actually wrap around the pier and they become obstructions. Those things have to be removed. Those are very short-term things that must be done across the country. It's critical because there are localized flooding spots across the country. It's not just Accra.
Right.
And my fear is that Accra is almost like the worst-case scenario. The new cities and urban towns that are coming across the country and are mirroring the same development trajectory as Accra
Absolutely.
are building a case for a future disaster. And that's why we need to have a nationwide perspective about this. Number two, and I think Kofi and Engineer Mahama have said about these things, which is about looking at nature and trying to protect and preserve nature, because nature has certain functions. So it is not every land that must be built upon. And even if it has to be built upon, the measures that must allow that should be different. And I said this before. It cannot be the same if you are building in Adabraka and the same if you are building in Ebri. It cannot be the same, because one person is contributing far more to flooding than the other. So the sanctions, the permit fees, the charges, impact fees, all of those things must be put into law, so that an assembly planner, the special planning committee will not have the wriggle room to interpret it in a way that they will benefit privately from. It must be such that we require reforms. Number three, the kind of thing we need a programmatic approach and not a project approach. We are so focused in this country, and for years, not today, for years, everything we define a project. A project is to solve a specific problem. But if you have a programmatic view, then you know that you are doing a program to resolve a far wider interconnected issue. So those are the things that what there are now is that there are a lot of studies around already, that if we are able to sift out of that, we can be able to put together a program, work with the different entities of state, whether it's local government level, whether it's sector level institutions, so that we can come with a program that says, okay, we are there's something in the Dutch harvest, they call it a room for the river. Mm-hmm. They've done this a room for the river program over 25 years. The Chinese have a sponge city concept, protecting the natural water bodies so that it allows the water. And they've done this implementation over years. In Indonesia, they have this Kampung improvement programs. They're just looking at how slums were affected and how you could improve slums so that people do not suffer all these floods and all of those things. And they've done it over 40, 50 years. Those are long-term view of addressing those challenges. So you must have a hand on the immediate actions, which are these small projects that we are doing. But you must also have medium to long-term view, 30-year, 40-year plans, so that whilst you are addressing the day-to-day issues, you still are able to, over time, build up the necessary redundancies. So whenever there's any nature event, you are resilient enough to be able to accommodate it and bounce back well.
Right.
Let me just end with this, because I've seen a lot of commentary on flooding since this incident happened. But if you look back to all the major flooding events in the past, it was similar commentary. It appears to me that Ghanaians as a collective, we are, in the banter that we entertain and engage in, we are quietly sleepwalking into a catastrophe. And I fear. I fear for Ghana. I fear for our cities. Because individual actions are being taken without a sense of how it comes together to create the vulnerabilities of our cities. We need duty bearers to actually bear duty. We need taskmasters to actually task people. Citizens must also stand up. In other jurisdictions, you go to South America particularly, middle-income groups are doing public interest litigation.
True.
If a public body is not functioning, what stands in the way of citizens groups? You have Kofi's group, for example, and lawyer and all those people, beginning to see that, listen, if it harms one, it harms all.
True.
So we can take action on those ends. So if we don't do that, another event, what happened here on Monday, it was the combination of two rains over 2 days. The Sunday there was rain.
Yeah.
In the eastern parts, Tema, a bit of Sakumono Airport, and so on. And then the following day we had that. If you look at the volume of rain that came, my engineers are telling me that it was a month's worth of rain in 2 days. And nobody controls the elements. Nobody controls the elements. So the banter and all of that, please, let's take a long look at how that disempowers us from really taking effective action. That would be my parting shot.
And I truly thank you
Thank
so
you, sir.
much for coming. As I did indicate, that he wasn't even too well as of this morning, but because of the commitment to do this and to put out the issues with expertise, he had the commitment to come. Dr. Safo, appreciate you.
Thank
you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Safo is the national coordinator of the Garrett project. There was a message.
The World Bank one and all those ones. The one under Akufo-Addo.
The one under the MPP government. The one we bought.
The work. We had more time to discuss that because they are not done.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
There was also a question. This is from Emmanuel Chum. Says, good morning. The floods also were contributed by citizens in discipline. We have to talk about that with people dumping refuse into drains. Engineer Mahama is on record to have said that some of the decisions taken to take the contracts, you said, away from certain institutions that were engaged by government to deal with them may not have been thought through. The local government minister admitted that it has to be reviewed going forward. Engineer Mahama, I take your thoughts on this very quickly.
Yeah, well, this year we have witnessed an unprecedented refuse at the collection or the discharge point. In fact, last week you mentioned when you interviewed me on the late news that there were 936 tricycles which has lined from Makati Hills towards Santa Maria. And the same thing happened in Kumasi. Now Accra generates Malam. So from Malam all the way to Santa Maria, they were queued to discharge their refuse. And the company that has the capacity, I don't know, I'm sure the politician will be able to tell us what happened between, whether there was an expose, but you don't throw the baby with the...
You're talking about Zunlion.
That's right. Now, you see, statistically, we are generating about 4,400 waste tons per day in Accra, just Accra. And that goes to 132,000 tons for a month. You are talking about 1.6 million tons of waste only in the capital. And this company has shown the capacity to do that. They have about, per the investigation, they have the transfer site at Achimota that can take about 1,500, that of Malam, that of Ajin Kotoku, that of the Adipa in Sawang to Eburu Road, and then the Ashama one. I think Pong is full, but I think they are making another effort to expand about 200 acres at Sege. This company is able to produce 60% of the waste into composite. So you have fertilizer of 60% from the organic or the waste that we are generating from our homes. So why do you allow such
is it a reconsideration of that decision or what?
Yes, I said government should have a
now the assemblies are now giving the mandate to...
Yes, because the local sector minister, Ahmed Ibrahim, was lamenting that they said they should give it to the assemblies and they turn it over to the assemblies, but the assemblies don't have the capacity to handle it. Now, the refuse is just like, it's everywhere. When you go to like the Carnation Market, and that's where the institution fails. So that's why I will tilt towards Kofi by saying that when the market women are at the market and they have a container and they are discharging or they are disposing their refuse into the container, and then after a week, there are 2/3 of that on the ground. When it's about to rain, that will also be washed into the... But that's the quantum that you see as part of the one that we also generate. But the quantum that you get from, let's say, Carnation Market, Malata Market, Mokola Market, and if you have 4 times that waste, look at the size of the container at a time, and this is washed into the river when it's raining, then we'll have these blockages. So that's why we'll ask the minister, sector minister who is in charge of these waste systems to have a real look at it and engage the companies who have the capacity. In fact, we are not saying that when the company has a scandal, we allow them to go like that. But you have to address them. At the same time, be mindful of the kind of devastation that if the rains come. In fact, this morning I just go to Abelink. I shared a picture with you.
Yes.
And just this morning, somebody had just put 2 traps of chippings and then sand. Abelink Mawaku Road along the roadside, and that's just close to the Odo.
That's the underbridge.
No, just on top. Along when you just go under the underbridge towards Abelink proper. Yes. On the right-hand side, I think there's a TV station around that area.
Yeah, that's true.
You see this material, it's a fresh material. After 3-4 days of the rains.
That's the point. You see, when we talk about
So somebody from the assembly.
that is the indiscipline. But listen.
in
There is
1
a
minute,
discipline. No, you said you come.
Yes.
Let me tell
We
you.
have to
There's a
round up.
discipline everywhere, and it's worse in other places. Go to the middle of London and misbehave.
Yeah.
Recently, somebody went to climb the Empire State Building just to propose to their girlfriend. Right after they were arrested, they'll be dealt with. They knew it. Okay. How many times have you seen people invade pitches in Ghana? In the World Cup, people are invading the pitch. People are more indisciplined than in Ghana, but try it and you'll see the response. What you're talking about, in the middle of Accra, somebody has gone to dump, sand and stones and whatever in the middle of it. Check. It will be there, and there's a DCE there. If I had any power, I will sack that DCE. I put on my face, somebody is selling yam in front of the Accra Financial Center. And you know how they sell? They store their yam in the space made for managing the traffic lights. AMA is just across the street. If I had power, I would sack the district chief executive. Because you should see it. If you haven't seen it, somebody should see it and let you know it. There is a principle of ultimate responsibility. That DC is elected by the president. Please, again, to the public, read Sanchu and the King's Concubines.
Okay.
Just Google it and read it. When we do these things, you will cure the indiscipline. And the principle of ultimate responsibility lies with the people who hold power.
Ralph from Akuse says, Alfred, good morning. Do you know why the colonial houses at the Rich Enclave in Accra are built on the short pillars? Example, where former President Rawlings lived. It is because of flood. So building in waterways where permit is required must be built on pillars. So when there's flooding, they are suspended. But honestly, successive governments have failed us. Ralph from Akose, thank you. This one here says, Alfred and Martin, Ghanaian corporate entities in difficult, engineered by CS. I think you might discuss that one too. It says in difficulties engineered by CSC, company ownership. I think your matter is Jonah Capital. I think it's the Jonah Capital matter in Abuja, Nigeria, which you are bringing to my attention. Thank you very much. We'll look into that. Thank you for your message this morning. This one here says, good morning, Mr. Okansi. President Mahama, going back on this particular matter of this issue of flooding to talk about the engineering is one that reminds me of 2015. We must move beyond action. Sorry, beyond words to action. You say, thank you. Good morning, brother. Perpetual blame by the NPP will not solve the problems facing Ghana. We must be bold and courageous enough to hold ourselves to the fire. The well-being of our dear nation is the utmost interest of the president. You say. Richmond Dogbe says, Alfred, please read Philippians 4:6. And it admonishes us to thank God in all situations and make our requests known to him. It says Haruna Mohammed lost his way, contributing to the subject on the table. He says his posture is not reconciliatory and typical of... okay, so thank you very much. This one here says... okay, we also quoting something, Thessalonians 5. Thank you very much for your messages this morning. But let me just remind you, Key Point, as always, is brought to you by Bank of Africa. As close, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And GASM, that nation builder. I'm going to go for this quick break. When we're back, we're getting into other matters this morning. But from now until the end of October 2026, Bank of Africa is offering short-term loans at very, very slim interest rates to salaried workers. We understand you have some emergencies to deal with and to sort out. That's why we give you that quick turnaround time, whether it is school fees, prospectus, car maintenance, or that much deserved family vacation. Bank of Africa will sort you out fast. Visit the nearest branch, or you can call them as well on 0244 338 226. Give them a call or a WhatsApp message on 0244 338 226 for inquiry. Sometimes all you need is a quick fix. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Key Point here on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London, and Voice of London Television as well. It's brought to you by Bank of Africa. GASEM is the nation builder. They built the foundations of the nation over decades, and they continue to evolve and to meet your building needs. GASEM remains the nation builder. I'll tell you as well about the National Petroleum Authority as they gear up for their national conference. Zubento will deal with that. And so, for those of you who are in the industry of the petroleum industry, take note of this. And this is one that you must make some time to attend. And that is the National Petroleum Authority NPA conference. And this is coming up in this month of July. Ghana will host global energy leaders and experts at the Ghana International Petroleum Conference. It's between July 16th and 17th, 2026, 8 a.m. each day. The venue is Palms Convention Center, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. The event will be climaxed with the Downstream Awards and Gala Night happening on July 18th. The President, John Dramani Mahama, is the special guest of honor. Register now at www.gipcon.com, that's GHIPCON.com, or you can call 055-822-3678, 055-822-3678 for some more information. And as always, my outfit this morning is by Kogra Clothing. It's the best version of you. You can call Kogra Clothing on this number for this outfit and many others you see me wearing on Saturday mornings on Key Point. 026-055-8056. 026-055-8056. This week, no surprises. The Supreme Court ruled on the two consolidated cases regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. I'll start off with you, Martin Kpebu, and there's 3 minutes each. And then, but then there's a big takeaway from the ruling, even though the reliefs of these persons were not granted.
Yes.
But what is the Supreme Court saying?
Yes, so for me, the big takeaway is the fact that at least the Supreme Court realizes, and in this case, you are talking about the Center for Citizenship and the Tokonu case. You know, there are two judgments. So the Center for Citizenship and the Tokonu case. They say that it is desirable that we have in place a system where if the prima facie determination is to be done, the basis for it, the reasons for arriving at a prima facie determination should be articulated. And so for me, that's middle of the road. So you read the opinion of Justice Amadou Tanko, right? The lead opinion in which the rest of the judges concurred. And Justice Denis J. wrote a concurring opinion, but the rest of the other judges concurred with Amadou Tanko. He says that, look, it's desirable that we have in place a better system. And so for me, that is the biggest takeaway. So it means that moving forward, we should not have that situation where you would have a prima facie determination made against a Chief Justice or for that matter, any other judge, and yet there are no fully articulated reasons. You know, I usually don't support Akufo-Addo for all the bad things and even the economy. Haruna, some minutes ago, was talking about the rains killing people. Akufo-Addo's handling of the economy of Fufuriata killed more people than these rains are killing people. Okay, but let's come back here. But you see that in the petition for the removal of the Chief Justice made by Kweku Asare, Akufo-Addo gave a reasoned ruling. When you read it, then you see that, yes, this is a properly reasoned ruling. So that's the standard. So for me, I'm happy that the Supreme Court agrees that, look...
No, you mean a reasoned...
ruling on the prima facie.
President Akufo-Addo?
Yes.
Giving a ruling?
How can
Yes.
Akufo-Addo?
No,
Was
I
it
want
the
to understand.
No.
Please.
Oh.
No.
You said Akufo-Addo.
Yes, this guy, Kweku Asare, presented a petition for removal of this...
Okay, it is the petition, his decision on the petition.
You mean the president's response?
Response.
Not the ruling.
Oh, I'm
Okay,
not
no,
ruling
it's
because
okay.
of its
No, I
nature.
get your point.
The
I
determinate,
totally understand. No, there was some clarity. No, I think it's
yes, I'm saying
no, there was some
the reason
confusion.
why.
The problem we have created is that your too much dislike for Akufo-Addo has traveled even into your explanation.
You go there. I know anything. You want to
don't
take a
go
position.
there.
I'm calling a reason
forward.
ruling
Yeah, I get you.
because
I
so
get you.
call it a reason. They don't like it.
I totally understand.
That's why you are out anyway. That's why I'm not the only one. That's why you have been what annihilated, embarrassed. I thought you would rather not even raise this because we even hit you more. That's why you've been totally embarrassed, showing that that's not how to govern a country. Okay. Yeah, so you find what he wrote. Lawyer Kudjo said he wrote it, right? Akufo-Addo read, approved, and then that's it. So you see that he gave reasons, copiously reasoned well. That's the standard. So once the Supreme Court says, look, this current law, their main problem is that they just cannot read into the provision what the plaintiff is looking for. You see, that elaborate reasoned ruling. But they accept that it would help if we would have such a thing. So that is where we should be looking at. And since we are now about to do the constitutional review, it means that is what I think H.Kwesi Prempeh did. We read it. Yeah, we need to further fine-tune it. And indeed, it's important to mention this thing that in our history, that's what it was, that the Consultative Assembly had proposed that there should be a judicial committee of the Council of State. Judicial committee to be able to do this, give reasoned rulings. Let me use the word reasoned ruling. Don't worry. So Ghanaians understand it.
Thank you very much.
We are clear that it's not a court.
Perfect. Ahona, quickly on this. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I believe that if we have been taken out and you see it as an embarrassment, that is why they have been embarrassing the governance state, because everything is going hoo-ha. And for the first time, even in our administration, we did not have the cost to arrest you and put you behind detention. So what is more of embarrassment than that?
Back to
this particular case and the decision that is taken by the Supreme Court, thankfully that we as MPP would not call them a unanimous FC. Never. This is a judicial decision. The Supreme Court has spoken. But for me and the MPP, our stance are very clear. Justice Gertrude Araba Sake Esaba Tukono, her dismissal will go in the records and the annals of this country as one of what was cooked in opposition, implemented in government, and defended in the process. For us, injustice has been meted to her, and that is why the Supreme Court is proffering its solutions to be able to stop some of the lacks in the implementation of a specific law. I think that it is something we consider that it was not done properly. And that is why they are asking that there should be a judicial committee, like he's explaining. They are also talking about the prima facie must also be explained or be put out so that people will get to appreciate and understand. I would have wished that this whole thing would have been revisited if the Supreme Court wanted this to. They could have also made a consequential orders that these must be addressed before such is done. But the injustice is being put on Justice Araba Tukono.
Mr. Bento, please.
Yes,
Mr. Bento, please.
As far as I'm concerned, coming events cast their shadows, and nobody is surprised by this ruling. However, I think the justices must be commended for taking the time to go through and write the kind of rulings they write. If you take, for instance, the prima facie explanation over there, if you read it, you understand better. Prima facie means if no defense is raised, the accusation must be such that it will lead to, your conviction. And they've reasoned it out pretty well. So I'm happy. But the hero out of all of this is Justice Tukono. Okay, and we kept saying she fighting this thing through. I mean, I don't think she herself was expecting that she would be reinstated per se. So coming events cast their shadows. But we have something which will last for posterity. And it's because she stood and fought through even when she could have walked away. So kudos to her. And I'm happy that this chapter has come to an end, hopefully.
The 146 reforms and then the proposals made is one that...
No, I'm happy it's been done. Some of this is how you build a country.
Okay.
But let me tell you something. If the next president makes a determination that they are going to remove the next Chief Justice, and they proceed the way that this one has proceeded, even under all these things, they will still remove the person. So what we must do is to get to a point where we are shielding some of these offices to the point where they cannot be removed. I mean, I don't know what word to use, which would be, but it's not arbitrary, you know, because they went through the process somehow, but we should elevate things to the point where it will not be this easy for somebody to premeditate a removal and still be able to use the law to remove the person.
Okay. Landlord in Bolga D-Line, and Bediako, I'll come to you, says it's only in Ghana that we make politics out of everything, including natural disasters, no matter how prepared Accra was, could not still manage the waters. You say, Professor Ransford Jampo says, Alfred, the principle of ultimate responsibility does not shield against individual responsibility. Please let Kofi Bento know this. Okay, thank you. Bediako.
You see, first and foremost, this is where the former Chief Justice, this is how far she has come. I wanted to deal with the few, but we don't have time. If you look at the decision of the Supreme Court, match it with that of the ECOWAS, you will see a lot of similarities. I am not too sure about the hero matter, but if you read the decision very well, it seems to suggest that there wasn't much or there wasn't anything done wrong. In fact, this proposal is not as if you read the ECOWAS decision, they even talk about this prima facie. They said it's not in our constitution, but because we said that, or the parties alluded to the fact that there's been a decision by the Supreme Court, they are good to go with it. So, absolutely. So this is what they've done now. To expand on it, absolutely. Like the prima facie case bit, which was not in the constitution. Now they brought this. It's good going forward. I think we have to. But you see, so I would let me use my time to deal with this. Look, I beg, just about 2 minutes. I told you, I cautioned that we ought to be careful with politicization of this flat thing, because we've had a worst president who refused to deal with these issues. Look, in 2018, there were floods. That was man-made. It killed 34 people in the north. President Kufuor didn't even fly there to check on them. That is a matter of record. Yes, I am. Please allow me. I'm using my time. You were here, you heard him. But you never said anything. You were here. Please allow me. You were here, you heard him. In 2018, 34 people in the north died. President Kufuor didn't go there. He didn't even... Please. So I've told you, please allow me. I heard you say all the things. In 2019, people died in this country. It was in 2023, this village, when Ghanaians were saying, so you don't care about people, then Evers and then those people, at the Akosomo stretch, that President Kufuor went there. And you heard the infamous, you don't vote for me. So if it were about who vote for me, I won't come. This is what very shameful statement that the president went to make there. You are saying what? That President Mahama is what? And has not done what? Former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia, in office for 8 years as former vice president, did he ever visit in 2018 there were floods, 2019 there were floods, 2023 there were floods. Did he ever visit any of them? No.
So what's the point?
So the point I'm making is that if you want to politicize it as he has done, then you are worse if you want us to. Look, President Kufuor went to Canada and met the Ghanaian community there. He said he would not use our money to cure our indiscipline. This is what he told the people, or the Ghanaians in Canada. And you come and sit here, instead of you trying to, at least there is a problem, let us come together and help fix the problem. You come and sit here and do politics and refer to books that people have written. When you were in power, both the president and now the person you are rooting for did nothing to help the people of those who had faced these problems of it.
I think that
so you see, when you come...
This misinformation must not be left to...
Which misinformation?
Let me make this very clear. He said we did nothing.
No, 34 people. No. I'm not. It's not your time. So if I said no, if you want time. No. You determine that. No. It's not. So I'm saying that 34 people died in the north where you come from. President Kufuor didn't visit them. In 2018 September, did he do that?
Point to a report.
There's no report
that mentions this 34. But the 34 that is here
died.
Has been confirmed.
Check. 34 died.
Check.
Died in the north.
President
didn't even
Akufo-Addo.
commiserate with them. Don't come and sit here and do politics. We are
In
not trying to, at
2017
least.
to 2024, first in the flood activities, earmark an amount of 550 million Ghana
Please,
cedis.
please, that's not.
For-
you are.
No, you said we have done nothing.
You
very
did
much.
nothing. You are, I'm
So
saying
you
that.
said we
You
have done-
said
I am
the
going to
president
give
was in
you
the air and all that. You
activities
are
that-
talking about.
you
I'm
see-
telling you that President
you see,
Akufo-Addo
President
and
Mahama-
as now you have left power, you now know that people, when people
President
suffer
Mahama should
floods, you
stop-
should go and
should
commiserate with them.
should
When he
stop
was in power for
redirecting his
8
blame
years,
to
did
the
he
citizens.
ever try?
He should stop
So you
redirecting
see-
his blame to the citizens.
No, please, when there is a matter like this, deal with the matter. Don't politicize it.
Personal,
Because your government was worse.
responsibility. Because he was reckless in opposition.
The sports team comes up, the Black Stars are out. The conversation will continue after this. I'm Alfred Okansi. Have a good weekend.